G'day everybody, we are back for the second series of tonight. Sorry about that, Yulwei. I know you were expecting us to go a bit earlier, but dash to the bathroom. We should be going now, except you can't hear me, of course, but we are live. Here we go. We are
Hello.
we are heading in to Series 2, which is marked as our match of the week. It's got a lot to live up to from that first series, though. DBL taking on Flash. Flash, of course, the King Slayers that took down Gum. DBL just overall looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's the really big test for DBL. DBL has
absolutely.
quietly been kind of our third best team. Like, everyone came into the season saying Flash is expected to be the second place, maybe challenging Gum. They did. They beat Gum. A little bit of trolling in the second game from Gum, maybe, and a big throw in the third game, but in the end, it's still Flash who won the series. So right now, Flash is looking to challenge Gum in the first place, and DBL is the only team that had the same success as Gum in terms of winning all the games, but one, which was against Adonis, actually, in the first ever series. And they looked rough in the first series, and suddenly, from the second series onward, way better. So who knows? DBL is a little bit of a mystery. No one knows how good DBL is, because their schedule also, so far, Adonis, Loki, or Team Secret now, and FTW. So it's just super hard to tell. Are they the real deal? Are they good? We'll see today.
It's almost like they've gone up against a mid-tier team, a higher mid-tier team in Team Secret. Maybe we could start calling them high tier. And then FTV.
Yeah, and Artifact inted the whole series against DBL, while Null destroyed him in the mid lane. So it's not even like the victory against Team Secret was very convincing, but also Team Secret kind of had a very off day. So it's very hard to know how good DBL is. If they can win today, they are the real deal, and they can challenge even for first place, maybe.
Well, I mean, if you beat Flash and Flash beats Gum, that means you beat Gum, right? That's how that works.
Of course.
But in all seriousness, if they do win today, that is a huge, huge boost in their power ranking.
It is.
They have looked much better from last split. Husmed, with the name change, has apparently shook off some of his old persona. He's looked pretty good. Of course, Raizo had some infamous moments last split, but has renamed, has potentially remade himself.
Same goes for Pan, right?
Yep, as well.
The substitute top laner who came in the series against FTB. To be fair, it's only FTB, right? You can experiment a little bit, giving your substitute top laner, the youngest player in the VCS, a little bit of stage time. But he looked great. He played the On, he played the Akali. And yeah, maybe we'll see him today as well. I think the first game will be great. Seen him on the stage already, now named Husmed. So we'll get to see Husmed against Yoshino in the top lane, which is, of course, a very, very hard matchup for Husmed.
Absolutely. Yoshino, pretty much now that Zeros is gone, is probably second best top in the league still. Kiaya so far has looked just absolutely ridiculously good. But it's not like there is a big gap between the two of them, and now we will be going into Champion Select. So have to see what they will end up actually playing to potentially get the win over Flash.
So the first good thing to see for Dashing Buffaloes, they will definitely field their strongest roster possible. It's not DK, it's not Pan, it's Husmed and Melia. There's in top high in the support role, so that means they take this seriously. They should, of course. It's also good to see Husmed getting another chance. I think so far this season he has looked quite strong in the top lane. Nothing like Yoshino Kiaya level, but better than in some of the games in the end of summer. So
yep, absolutely.
Maybe Husmed will be good, as some of our Discord friends will say.
That also required DivKid to win MVP. That's not looking as likely. But we do have the target ban of Blitzcrank being removed and the Aphelios first pick. I think this is a good start to the draft for DBL. Get Big Koro on a big carry.
Yep, and once again we see the Aphelios Syndra trade. Seems to be very common right now in VCS. There's a slightly higher priority, but most teams are fine giving up the Aphelios for the Syndra on the first rotation. Always when we see this matchup on the bot, it indicates the Syndra team is going for a mid-game, a little bit more early game focus. On the team is probably going for a little bit more scaling on the Aphelios. So let's see if Flash wants to continue to go on that path and build a team comp around early game, or if they want to answer maybe with a late game carry of their own, they could go Cassiopeia here.
Yep.
I think jungle is very likely to be picked up.
I wouldn't mind jungle at all. Oh, you are a bit ahead of us because I haven't seen that. Braum is locked. It blocks an Ornn pick.
It's a little surprising this early on, though.
Yeah, and it does open up the MF pick for themselves, but it could be answered here by the Thresh. Again, Aphelios Thresh is a very, very good lane.
Yeah,
Definitely
we've seen Aphelios Thresh a lot today, so it seems like a lot of the scrims have focused on Aphelios Thresh. Makes a lot of sense, and why wouldn't you go for it here? Could go either jungle or one of the solo lanes for Buffaloes to round out phase 1.
I'd like to see jungle.
I'd like to see
so you
jungle
can
as well,
pinch
yeah.
the jungle pool.
Maybe J4. He's still open. Valiota's very good J4 player. Please, done. Oh, that's interesting as well.
I don't think that's necessary. Like, there are a lot of good top laners in the meta. I'm questioning why they've decided to go the Mordekaiser there, but the MF picked up for Flash. That's smart. You don't want it to get banned out. Second round of bans.
So we have top lane, bot lane completely picked on either side, and mid laner for Flash. That probably leads to Flash banning out more mid laners and Bashing Buffalo banning out more top laners. Both teams could still focus jungle as well, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, especially for Dashing Buffalo to ban out jungles. Flash could still go for jungle bans here and force the better trade because they are the first team to pick up the jungle. They are on red side, so they have a little bit of priority. They can be a little bit more free about picking up the jungle here, but it seems like it's mid lane pinch for Flash and top lane pinch for Buffalo, which makes sense.
Yep, that does make total sense. They've banned out Yoshino's Fiora as well. That might seem like a bit of a random ban if you're new to the VCS, but Yoshino absolutely loves the Duelist. Removing that in the second round makes complete sense to me. Zoe as well, it's a good champion for Null. See what else they remove. It is Elise. So one ban thrown towards the jungle.
Interesting.
We could still get a Meliodas.
We could see the Meliodas lead. Could also go for Lee for Yijin. That would be a very strong 2v2 in the mid lane, regardless of the enemy mid lane pick. LeBlanc is still open here, so I'd like to see Null go for one of his best champs, also very safe pick. Struggles a little bit into Syndra though, so maybe he doesn't want to go for this matchup. Could also go for one of his favorites, which is Cassiopeia, still open. And not super great into Syndra either, but can definitely survive lane. And yeah.
Gonna go the Kennen. I don't feel like that needed to be picked there. I feel like you should have secured a jungler.
For sure.
Kennen into Mordekaiser is a good matchup, but it wasn't a contested pick.
Yeah, indeed. Even if you want the Kennen, just go Kennen last pick. Why do you go Kennen fourth pick and give over jungle priority to the enemy? Doesn't really make too much sense to me. Now we might actually see Rumble top and Mordekaiser mid lane to avoid the Kennen.
Potentially. Does Rumble do that much better into Kennen though?
I think you can probably wave clear a little bit easier than Mordekaiser.
That's true.
See.
But it is also
easy game setup though.
Kiana for Meliodas. They did need an AD jungler. Olaf, having fallen all the way through the draft here, could get picked up for Yijin, which means he can pick Gragas, but he's choosing not to, which is smart because he'd have a triple AP topside.
Yeah.
So I like the Olaf pick.
So overall, if you look at Flash's composition, I think it's very explosive, a lot of pace, very strong mid-game setup in my opinion. 2 item power spikes on champ. So I'd really like to see Flash go for aggressive initiations in the team fights. You could actually, if you really wanted to, Yoshino could go AD cannon here and just split push all game. I don't think there's any champ on the enemy team that could stop him in the side lanes.
Yep.
I don't quite expect it though. I think this is a team fighting cannon for Yoshino. might be a possibility though. Probably
Yoshino
in
does like
LCK,
the
this
split
would be an
push.
AD. Yeah.
I'd actually really like the AD cannon. Just go that AD on hit, make sure you can dominate side lane, but it's still the VCS, right?
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
be a team
unlikely.
fighting
It's a
cannon.
possibility though.
Yeah.
Would be interesting to see. And as you say, Yoshino is probably the best split pusher in the VCS. One of his specialties. Also, as you said or pointed out in draft, the Fiora is his most famous champ, and Fiora is a split pusher. He's very good at split pushing with Fiora. So it would be cool to see. I don't quite expect it though.
Again, let's look down at the other ones. I actually really think that Olaf pick is very good. It'll be very, very strong for diving onto the Aphelios. Obviously, Thresh can't stop him. So, potentially Big Koro having a lot of pressure, especially if Yijin can get off to a good start. Overall, which team comp do you favour, and where do you think they need to play through?
I have to say I like composition a little bit more. Aphelios is always when I see a they have Aphelios. It's hard to have a better team composition. But yeah, I think Flash's team composition has a little bit more synergy. I really like their potential follow-up with Braum, Cannon, and Misfortune having strong team fighting abilities that can follow the Olaf into the team fights. On the other side, yeah, I think Mordekaiser Rumble is a little bit weird as a combination because Rumble likes to play around his ult, right? And Mordekaiser isolates one of the targets of the enemy team.
Kiana Rumble, though. Very strong.
Kiana Rumble is super strong. I feel like the scaling on DBL is a little though. You have Bikoro. Aphelios is okay on one item. He really gets going on 3 items. And then 3-item Kiana Rumble falls off already a little bit. So if they can bridge the gap between the scaling, this composition can be very strong. If everything goes standard, I think Flash is a little bit easier to Flash's team composition is a little bit easier to execute. So I favor them, but it's not by a big margin.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to come down to execution. Looks
always.
like Flash. Yeah, I mean, true. And it looks like Flash will opt into splitting the map. They are spotted and they know they are, but they will steal away the red buff. This should signal vertical jungling, which is good for Flash because top lane is pretty much ungankable. Ooh, might have a little bit of cheese here. Nope, they're not going to go for the full-on cheese.
So now it's the question, does Yijin want to fight early? I think there's a big opportunity to go for a 3 buff here. Go straight to your own red buff and clear topside jungle. Olaf into Kiana. Olaf stomps Kiana early on. You can see already Kiana is struggling to get 1 buff while he is already going back to his own jungle. So I think this is a prime opportunity for Flash, also with very strong early lanes, to just secure triple buff. Looks like Yijin is going for that. So yeah, strong start.
Yep, and I think that was immediately noticed by everyone as Olaf just marched through the mid lane, clearly heading to his red. They said, oh, sorry, Meliodas, you're only getting 1 buff here. Not a very fun start for this Kiana. Obviously, these XP leads really do stick.
Yeah. Especially on this patch.
Yeah.
And we've seen one Kiana struggling today.
Yes, we have.
Though you got the MVP from the official stream, his early game was a big struggle. Yeah, travesty indeed. But yeah, his early game was a big struggle. And not only did he not hit any this play of talents, not even Supreme, not even close to Supreme, he also fell behind so far in the early jungle matchups, and he was always very low on HP, so he wasn't able to get counter ganks in. And we see the triple buff is there, so Yijin reading this jungle matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And he also, I think, stole away the Raptors, so he is very, very far ahead. He's double Meliodas' CS already. They'll go 1-for-1 on the Scuttle Crabs, so at least Meliodas gets something that's contested. But overall, Olaf very, very far ahead. Hopefully we see him snowball it into a lane. Which lane would you like to see him head to?
I think mid lane is probably the easiest lane to gank. You have very easy carding. Bot lane is pretty hard to gank with the Thresh. Very defensive positioning for a.
Oh, but he's going for it though. Here he comes. The lantern is used, as is the flay. The TPs are coming in as well. It's both the mid laners.
This was greatly done for DBL, and
Yep,
now the
very
counter
well
gate.
done. CBL takes a lot of damage, but does manage to hit the Q. And overall, it will just be the defused situation, and both mid laners TPing. Honestly, both teams go very, very even there. Except for the flashes.
Way too aggressive for Flash. I think Flash should have read the situation a little bit better there. Especially Slater's Flash was very out of. The High just with very good positioning. They didn't even get any flashes from the DBL spot lane because High just put the lantern up. Vico just clicked on the lantern. Very easy escape.
Yeah,
Double
absolutely.
teleport invested, maybe a little bit too much. Both teams very eager to fight. Probably shouldn't have teleported.
I think
This might favor Flash's mid lane though in the matchup.
I think once Null's teleport started, Cuddy had to respond.
That's true. Yeah, he had to respond to not give up any kills there.
And
so first, yeah, go ahead.
No, never mind. I thought Null might get caught. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's very safe right now on the lane. He's actually ahead in CS by quite a bit. If you collect 10 CS in this matchup, which is quite surprising. So
yeah,
Null
absolutely.
continuing to show up here. He is one of our candidates for early league MVP. Actually, he has had incredible series. He's what was this Cassiopeia score that even led to a new emote now?
Oh, it was something
809 or something.
Yeah,
it was
huge.
Absurd.
But yeah, we did make an emote for that, so I'd like to have that added to the stream. Go ahead and use your Twitch Prime to subscribe. No, of course. Yeah, I think he has. Null is Mr. Consistent though. But then again, last split we were saying, well, Null's good, but he doesn't have the pop-off performances. He's not going to put DBL on his back. This split so far, maybe he's invested in a backpack.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Definitely was. And it was super weird because in the first series against Adonis, he was struggling as the rest of DBL was struggling. The second series against Team Secret, they were still low-key at that point, came and we all thought, okay, DBL looked rough. But for the thought, 2-level advantage for Yijin.
Yep, could potentially be a bit of a skirmish, but no, Meliodas isn't going to opt into that one. Would be very foolish to do so.
Tragedy in the jungle.
Yeah,
it's a 2-level advantage.
Yeah, and this doesn't go away. We keep saying it. Rough. This is Meliodas has been absolutely bullied out, looking a bit lost on this Kiana, and yeah, Yijin is just absolutely destroying him.
Yeah, I'm super happy we finally see someone challenge Kiana heavily. And I thought we wouldn't see jungle Kiana anymore because of very clear speed now. But somehow most of the pros have gotten away with just being a little bit slower in the jungle. So it's good to see Flash and Yijin in particular challenge this very weak early jungler and just steal everything away from him. Another buff. This one will go over to Kati. So
yeah,
Flash in full control.
Brutal. This is absolutely brutal for Meliodas. He is what is it so far? 4 buffs to 2 or 5 to 2? Yeah. This is. Oof.
It's only 5k gold lead, but it's more an experience than a gold lead. That's more important. As Kiana is still absolutely useless. She's still not level 6, and Yijin will soon hit level 7. So there is no way they win any 2v2s, especially because this matchup is bad already. If both were level 6, Kiana still can't do anything against Olaf, but she is not level 6 yet. So.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what we like to see out of Olaf. Sometimes they play a little bit too defensively for my liking. Olaf doesn't really lose 1v1s in the jungle, except maybe to Jarvan at like level 2. But at this point in the game, Olaf can basically 1v1 anyone. So I like that he's just played super aggressively, he's flexed very, very hard, and he's got Meliodas off to a really tragic start. It's going to be very hard to recover from. Jungle is unforgiving in Season 10.
It is.
So far, Meliodas is not speaking to the trees.
So if you're wondering, if you've really turned into... This is DBL. DBL is our slowest team by far, not in terms of average game time, but they play a very slow, very controlled style, very macro heavy, and we can see DBL very smart move already, just changing or getting the tempo advantage here with the first Rift Herald. Nice block, Baby Curl. Very small little detail there. Blocked the Q from Cannon to deny the Cannon. Nice to see.
Cannon blocked the Q from Cannon to deny the Cannon.
Yeah.
Good job getting through that one. Bit difficult, but Yijin again moving into this Kiana's jungle. Can't actually steal anything away this time, but still just putting the pressure on Meliodas, who's just had to flash. I think did we see that? Or did I miss something?
Nope. Don't think so.
Not 100% sure why that flash had to be burned.
He was very scared of Yijin there.
Yeah.
Not sure if he had to flash. Maybe you get to see a replay instead. So Flash seems to not be willing to respond to the lane swap. And so far, the eye has not been popped for DBL. They could go for an early top lane push, and it seems like Meliodas is way to the top side. So I expect the Rift Herald being used on the top lane. Cannon can't really defend this turret alone, so I'm a little bit confused why Flash is still not responding to this move. This should be very obvious.
Yeah, it should be, especially with the bot lane has moved up. I don't think you're going to be able to race them, of course, against Shelly, despite the fact that MF takes towers reasonably well. She's nothing compared to Aphelios and the Rift Herald. Husband does get a nice little death grasp.
That shield is gigantic.
It is
there we go.
Rift Herald clears the wave out to potentially not get dove, but yeah, that was the easiest first blood.
Yeah.
Old.
I really don't understand what Flash here in the whole passage of play. I think for the last 2 minutes, Flash just completely messed up the read of the game. Yeah, and it's good to see DBL getting away with a lot of gold on their side. They're still behind, by the way, just because of the jungle matchup. But they got the first kill and got Kiana back into the game, at least a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really a massive boon that it went over to Meliodas. He's only one level down now, which is only the one level lead for Olaf. So potentially something could be done, and they're not going to be able to answer this turret back, I don't think, as the reinforcements should be coming for DBL, but they're actually not. So the tower might go down anyway, but it was more gold for sure for the Aphelios in the top lane. So, hello, Null in a little bit of trouble, but the scrap shield is very powerful, has not been nerfed
yet. Didn't take any damage there.
Nope.
Okay, he has boots already, so yeah, he's sitting on a little bit of MR. That's I was very surprised by Syndra not dealing any damage to him, but scrap shield as well as the Mercury threads already lead to him not taking any damage from Cardi.
Yep, absolutely.
And so far, Null didn't have the greatest early game impact yet, and with a Predator, he should have been able to look for a few of the early roams, like Hani did in the last series. But at least he's still ahead in CS, which he's not supposed to be in this matchup. And mid-game, the Rumble can still win the game, so great job.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a team fight around the next Dragon. Rumble will comfortably be level 11 by then. Could find something. Then, no real objective on the map for the early game power of the Equalizer to be used on. So it's just going to continue to be a bit of a farm fest as the bot lane has moved into the mid lane.
Yeah. I really agree with what you just said. I think DBL has big advantages in the next team fight, and they should use that to lock down the dragon, because giving over 3 dragons to Flash is quite scary, especially with this dragon soul. This is the strongest soul by far. You really don't want to risk giving up the ocean soul with maybe a missed smite or anything, because even if you win the next few minutes and you get control of the game, if the enemy team has 3 dragons, it's always risky to go for the next one. So, yeah, deny the 3rd dragon. That's very important for them. And they are, as you rightfully pointed out, they have the Rumble, super strong mid game. Also, the enemy Cannon has gone for the Cull, so he's actually doesn't have the greatest combat stats right now.
That feels like a big mistake to me. Bigger mistake than a normal Cull. I
Yeah,
feel like the next fight actually does really matter, but Hazmed could be in some trouble. Goes into the Death Realm to buy time. Can he get onto Yoshino to make it a 1-for-1? He's absolutely going to die when he comes out. Yoshino with the flash with the instant Proto Belt follow, and it will be a kill here for Qiyana. The Rumble ult used as well. And Hai will yank his jungler out of trouble, and it's a 1-for-1. Both top laners dead.
Yeah, Hasmed was way stronger on the 1-on-1 that we expected, because Yoshino used this ult very early on. So they both went into the Death Realm. The ult was not there anymore.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mistake.
From the very strong Mordekaiser. I don't know if I'd call it a mistake, because he still locked down the Mordekaiser to initiate the gank, right? So he kind of had to use the ult there. Maybe didn't quite account for this much damage, which, yeah, I have to say was quite surprising. And the Proto Belt itemization here from Hasmed in the end gave him a big advantage in this matchup.
Yeah, the Proto Belt as well was actually super well done by Hasmed, not just the buy. If we watch the replay towards the end, he lands an excellent I think this was a bit too early because his team wasn't close enough.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm not quite sure. If he didn't ult there, yeah, I guess if he didn't ult there, he had the ult and wouldn't have taken this much damage. So yeah, I agree. On second thoughts, or the second time I see it, I can see that it was a little bit of a mistake there for Yoshino.
And Rift Herald, it does go to Flash. So we did have a little bit of a contest, but the push off. Yeah, and I think Dragon is absolutely going to be super, super important. This second Rift Herald, obviously, DBL would have liked to get it, but it's not that big a deal. There's no turret plates or anything. They want to be fighting around the Dragon, as you very correctly pointed out. Giving Ocean Soul Point over is a pretty bad decision, if we're going to be totally honest. A very bad decision, even. Oh my word! There's just instant kills being traded back. Meliodas goes down, as does Slater. Slater going down, not good for Flash, but much, much worse for DBL, is losing their jungler as the Dragon spawns. Can Flash go over and reinforce Yijin, though? Yoshino's still in top
I'd really
lane.
like to see Yoshino teleport in. He has his old level 2 available here. So I'm not the biggest fan of him being very farming in the top lane. I think he should have immediately went for the teleport play and secured the third dragon for the team, because Meliodas was dead. So
Could still happen. Meliodas is still very far away. Yijin looking for it. The dragon is going to go down pretty quickly. Yoshino still hasn't TP'd. He really, really wants to hold this. Finally, here he comes. He's actually going to appear in a really good position for the Slicing Maelstrom. He's arrived at the Death Realm, and that is the Drake secured. We now have Ocean Soul Point active for Flash, and they will get one kill and walk away. This is
nicely done.
Suddenly very, very good for Flash.
Yeah, and suddenly the game looks like the 70-30 game for Flash, not only looking at the scaling, but also looking at the dragons, of course. Only one dragon away from the strongest soul in the game, the only soul that is really able to win you the game on its own. So DBL needs to do something about this. I like the idea to go for the Slater pick, but you always have to consider if your jungler dies, you lose the dragon. And maybe a little bit over aggressive for Meliodas there into Cardi's level 2 ultimate. He just murdered him. I think Cardi just one-shot Meliodas there.
Yeah, it was about as close to a one-shot as you can get if it wasn't one. It's definitely what I would be referring to it as. And now every dragon that spawns is a chance for Flash to basically win the game.
It is. 2k gold lead as well. They've overcome the slight item disadvantage here. Not being able to do a whole lot with his Leander power spike. Now the cannon on 1.5 items finally is online as well. When he finishes the call, he will be able to build another item. I'm interested to see what item he wants to go for. And cannon level 2 ult is very impactful in teamfights as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was it was an interesting play by Yoshino there, just going to secure the kill on the Mordekaiser. I would have thought the more common VCS play would have been to go forward, but I'm happy to see the restraint. Was happy with just one kill and the Ocean Drake. Now, DBL, How much of a chance do we really give them to contest the rest? We'll come back to it though, as Husmed is getting taken here.
Trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. The Death Realm actually got interrupted there, so now he's going in with no health. The first Obliterate misses. He is going to be going down. Easy kill for Cutty.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, that's a feels Batman for Husmed. Not a whole lot he could do there. A little bit overextended. Now Flash is looking very clean in their coordination. Their early game macro didn't quite live up to the hype, I guess, but now the mid game looks very clean. So it's good to see.
Yep, absolutely. They're pushing their lead in all the right places, not taking any big VCS plays where they go for a bit of a flip. Just see if it lands on heads or not.
Very conservative game compared to the others we had today. At this point in game 1 of the first series, we already had like 20 kills at least, and we're not even at 10 now. So definitely see a little bit of a different approach to the game from either team. And Flash seems to be able to play DBL's game, which is always great to see. Right?
Yeah, it is very good to see, honestly. I always like to see, as much as we love the VCS over-aggressive teamfight style, it's also good to see them play quote-unquote better League of Legends at times. Be a little bit more restrained, try and focus on not making mistakes rather than just going for hype plays. But we have a minute and a half before the game could be decided, because I maintain you can't lose with Ocean. I just don't think it's possible.
I think there was one game where Ocean and CLG was the team that managed to do so. But CLG is a little bit of a special case, right? And they didn't actually lose team fights. They just got out-rotated by Immortals, and Immortals kind of snatched the game from the jaws of defeat. So, yeah, I think you can't lose team fights with Ocean Soul. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's just so much healing. It's absolutely absurd, really. I mean, we could see some Morellonomicons coming in to counter it. Might actually be worth it for once, but unfortunately, I don't know if that would even be enough. Yijin coming down bot. Husmed feeling a little bit bullied. He's already 0-3. Goes into the death realm once again, but he doesn't understand that you're not locked in there with him. He's locked in there with you. As Yoshino gets the easy kill.
Yeah, he only got 176 gold from that kill, but it opens up
the free soul, right? Yeah, this is really bad.
Very bad timing for Husmed to die, and sadly, this is a little bit of a wrong game for Husmed. We praised him a little bit this season so far, but this looks very much like the last season of Husmed. A lot of overextensions, a lot of unawareness where to be and how to coordinate with just free kills for Flash.
TP coming in, so Cutty can attend this fight. Obviously, this one is incredibly important. DBL has to contest. The supreme display of talent is really good. Slater absolutely melting, but it is already Meliodas dead. This is not going well for Flash at all, though. This is perfect fight for DBL, and they will manage to hold on. They get the clean ace, and they prevent the soul.
There we go. Very bad positioning for Yoshino as well. So the cannon didn't actually do a whole lot. Yijin didn't use his ult in the fight. Slater didn't use his ult either. So 3 important ults not utilized in this fight. 1 was not available. 2 were just not used. So
gonna be Baron as well.
Very bad outcome for Flash. And suddenly the game is very much open again. DBL still has to prevent the next dragon from going over to Flash. But now for 5 minutes, they're in a good position, especially if they can secure this Baron, which should be possible. Enemy team too far away. That said, they are pretty slow here.
They have the high damage Aphelios combo. He does have that Severum.
And the other two. Okay, the other two. Okay.
Yeah.
They have the time. This will be Baron for DBL. So we're back to almost okay, Yoshino. This time
a little bit of a catch there. Does get the slicing maelstrom. That's doing a disgusting amount of damage into the bullet time. And you know what we said about flip fights? Flash has found one of those for sure, as they get 3 kills back, destroy 3 Baron buffs, and now they have tempo on the map.
Yeah, that's what happens when Cannon and Slater ults.
Ooh, the snipe!
There we go. Nice snipe. Olaf goes down. Still the turret over to Flash, and Flash still come out on top after the trade. They're a little bit sad they didn't get the soul, but it's still their game to lose, I'd say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. They are only 1.5k ahead now after their little mistake around the Baron.
So look at this supreme display of talent here. Meliodas.
This is huge.
Boy, it was super close. He hits the very tip of the stone there. Was very close of only hitting the water, which is actually not that bad in this situation. Would have stunned 3 people anyway, but got the stone and then, or the wall, I should say, and then the wall exploded, even more damage. So river element turned into wall element and killed everyone.
I hate the names. I hate them so much. It could just be water and rock. Come on.
No, it's wall. Come on.
Riot, have you not played Pokemon? Like, come on, man. But regardless, it was still a very, very good play out of Meliodas. Coming back from a disastrous early game, he's still very far behind individually to Yijin, but his build is pretty cheap, honestly. Lethality items don't cost that much. So, honestly, in terms of combat effectiveness, he's not that much less effective than the Olaf.
And there's one shining light for DBL right now, looking at stats and the items. Look at Bikoro, 303 in the game.
Huge.
Super strong point right now. He can carry this game, potentially, even though the team composition for sure is easier to execute on the Flash side, and probably a little bit of the scaling advantage for them as well. Right now, though, the next fight might be a little bit of a problem for Flash, as you look at the Flash timers on Team Flash. I know a lot of Flash, but they don't have any Flashes available. So right now they should rename to, I don't know, Team Smite,
Team Cooldown,
Teleport. Yeah, Team Cooldown. They actually have almost no summoner spell available right now.
Exactly.
The only Flash on CBL.
Everything's on CD. And this will be DBL finally using that Baron buff that I almost forgot that they had. The Graviton is used. They're going to go forward here. That Rumble ult is doing a disgusting amount of damage. Stop. Oh my god, Flash is just melting. Goodbye.
There we go. Great engage. CBL was almost able to save his ADC there, but stayed in the... See? Oh, bad timing. But he should still die. Hasmid with a solo kill in the bot lane. So now suddenly the game turned on its head, and we might see DBL breaking the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, almost certainly. They absolutely dominated the fight. We said that Flash's comp was easier to execute, and I still think we're right on that, but DBL has evidently put the time into this one, because they are making this look clean as anything.
Yeah. Aphelios Rumble, great follow-up to just catch Flash up. Pointed out later in Cardi and everyone on Flash side basically had no Flash away. And exactly at that moment, or only a few seconds afterwards, Slater gets caught out and can't Flash away. Next fight will be more difficult for DBL without the Flashes being on cooldown on Flash's side. I just hate their name. It's annoying to cast, but whatever. So... now, Flash still has a chance here. They're still even in gold almost, and they're still on soul points. So if they can get the next dragon, suddenly the game's in their favor again.
Absolutely. And speaking of that dragon, it has been started up. The Aphelios ult goes wide. That's a big part of the engage. Go on, and they smite it. They have the Ocean Soul, and they can re-engage the fight now. Look at the healing on Olaf. If you want to see why Ocean Soul is a little bit broken, as he is already starting to regen, and that is very, very bad for DBL. They were on the fight back, but now they have potentially given away one of the most powerful buffs in League of Legends.
Yeah, crucially, DBL took a little bit too long to reset, and Flash was very quick on just rushing the Baron, Dragon. Very good decision-making for Flash, in my opinion, to not risk anything with a prolonged fight there. Just go for the immediate... soul and try to get it, because even if you lose the dragon there, it's still almost nothing gained for the enemy team, while you can just gain the victory of the whole game. So yeah, I like the decision here for Flash, now with a big advantage for the rest of the game that is named Ocean Soul.
Yeah, this is now if you had to give odds on this game, as the base is broken in the bot lane as well, if you had to give odds, what would you give DBL to win? against Ocean Soul. I'm
Just
going pretty
looking,
low.
yeah, it's 25% maybe. I'd say.
I was going to say 15.
Yeah,
I think Ocean Soul's ridiculous. I think you've got ducks against a flush here.
they have a lot of burst, which is quite good into the Ocean Soul.
True.
If they get the perfect team fight with a lot of burst, they can actually out damage the Ocean Soul. But yeah, it's not very likely.
Yeah.
I especially like the stopwatch pickups by all the players slash side, because stopwatch and Ocean Soul is disgusting in team fights.
Yeah.
You heal while you stopwatch, and then suddenly you have 300. So it's a super good interaction there for Flash.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be able to heal while you're stasis. Probably.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, every effect can heal while you stasis.
I know, but
they would have to change every.
I know.
Yeah, so.
But it's a stasis.
Okay. Yeah,
stasis means frozen.
I mean, the champ is frozen. Maybe his HP bar is just something else. I'm not sure.
But yeah, you do make the very correct point there that DBL probably has the best possible comp against Ocean Soul because of that
very burst heavy.
Yeah,
indeed.
But again,
the big problem for Hasmid is that can he still win 1v1s now in his Death Realm against Ocean Soul? That's actually super difficult for him. So this might actually turn all the 1v1s in the favor of Cardi and Yoshino, or whoever is going to be picked or drawn into the Death Realm here. So Hasmid needs to be super careful now in the 1v1 setup.
Yeah, I think you almost have to get to that point where you're ulting CBL, which is a sad time, but you can definitely win that 1v1. I mean, the question is, can he kill anyone in the amount of time? Mordekaiser's not that bursty.
No, he's
and not. So he
deals a lot of damage.
He does, but he doesn't do it super bursty. And you what? The Death Realm is 6 or 7 seconds.
7, I think.
7, yeah. It's going to be hard to kill someone with Ocean Soul.
I agree, especially also against the 2 solo laners with now. So even if they are in danger of dying.
We do have a hook here onto Yijin. Meliodas going through, does hit a decent Supreme display of talent, but there's no follow-up, was just defensive. Ult for ult. But you can already see.
The 2 backliners on Flash side need to be a little bit more careful. Supreme display of talent, though. That was not aimed at Slater or Cardi, and they still got caught, so
They need to respect the walls.
Absolutely. So we're back to a very tense game right now. It's a Flash favorite, but they seem to struggle to find a way to win this game or break the game up now. Elder Dragon in 2 minutes could be a possibility. It's quite risky for them, though. Usually with you want to go for fights over Baron and then finish the game. You don't actually need Elder with the Ocean Soul.
Oh no, Meliodas gets absolutely caught out there. Syndra will get that one. Yijin charging forward.
Go flashed.
Oh, unfortunately, CBL does get hooked there. That is a good equalizer on top of Slater in the bullet time. CBL does go into the Death Realm. What I predicted, I told you, I play Mordekaiser, man.
Yep.
I knew what stage the game is at, but he can't kill him. There's just too much regen. The flash was good. Hasmed does go down, and this should be the easy Baron.
You can't blame me for that one.
Oh no.
I was quite surprised that Yoshino didn't pull the trigger there with the flash in the backline. Could have potentially killed Bikoro there.
Yeah, but now he's got it now. Big Infernum ult doing a lot of damage there. Baron very, very low. And actually secured no smite there for Yijin.
Still a bit risky. Secured for Flash in the end. And now 3k gold lead with the Ocean Soul fight. So yeah, the game will slowly go more and more in Flash's favor, I'd say. It's now only like 12% maybe for DBL to win this game. It's getting less and less. So yeah, Yoshino still has his Flash for the next fight, so he really didn't want to pull the trigger before the Elder Dragon fight, I suppose.
Good restraint. Genuinely.
Yep. It's now super dangerous for Bikoro to do anything. If you look at his summon spells, no flash available for him, so Cannon can just flash on top of the Bikoro and murder him in the back line. Very strong equipment for the Cannon as well. A little bit of penetration, a lot of penetration actually. And only QSS there for Bikoro for a little bit of MR. At least it's not true damage from the cannon, but still very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, very, very difficult. And Yijin is going to be incredibly difficult to take down as well. He's going to be Itaphelios' face just about forever, as DBL is starting up the Elder Drake. There's pings on the mid lane inhibitor. I don't think that's the right call. You definitely want to fight for this Drake. And now Yijin has priority position
for his moment.
Yep, he can just flash over the wall. He
Spotted
actually gets hooked, though. Needs to go now. Yijin takes so much damage, is only just going to limp away. This is going to be an Elder Dragon for DBL. This is a massive flip as the first execution comes in. 1-for-1, but Elder Drake for DBL. This was a poorly executed fight by Flash.
Yoshino still didn't flash over to teamfight. A little bit confused. Yoshino seems to be waiting for...
He's holding it for next game.
Yeah, apparently. A little bit of a double lift move here.
I was gonna make the exact same joke.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now Biko's flash will be available for the next team fight. I'm not too happy with Yoshino's play the last few minutes.
Been far too defensive. I liked not using it around Baron. I actually thought that was solid restraint. But Elder Dragon is everything. It's so strong.
It is.
And I mean, that said, I don't think this is going to be a game-winning Elder Drake. I think they will definitely be able to outlast this one. It's only got 2 minutes left on it. Ocean Soul is still very strong. But DBL definitely getting a bit of a respite that they should not have been given.
Yeah, that's for sure. The gold lead is not very... the two main carries for the side of DBL super strong right now. Look at the itemization. Rumble is sitting on a death cap. That's an item we don't actually ever see in Rumble.
Yeah, he doesn't normally get to go there. But here he is. Null, once
4
again,
items. Brought
his school bag.
Yeah, still did not die. He's one of the highest KDA players. By the way, he's sitting on a 9.1. Set on a 9.1 KDA before the game, I should say. It's even higher now. So Null is still showing up. But big shout out to Biko, who still hasn't died either, to Cannon in the enemy team. Cannon Olaf Syndra. That is
very, very impressive. I think they need to be putting a lot more focus into him. So far, they've been trying to crack the front line, but we really, really do need to see the Slicing Maelstrom being used, potentially layered with the bullet time, is what Flash wants, but they definitely don't want to fight for another 45 seconds. Fortunately for them, nothing of real importance for DBL to take. They'll get a couple of towers, a bit of standing gold, but they shouldn't be able to get an inhib. Should be the last reset of Elder.
Yep. We're going back to a very tense state where not a whole lot is happening, and both waiting for the greatest opportunity to strike. Baron is kind of a useless objective this game, I have to say, because both teams are strong enough to defend against the Baron. So it's really all about the next Elder Dragon, which will spawn in 3 minutes and might decide the game. Because now DBL with Elder Steal or Sneak are back in an equal position to Flash. And even though Flash still has the Ocean Soul, so they should still be able to win even team fights. With the Elder Dragon, Ocean Soul doesn't really matter too much.
No, but the Elder Dragon has now timed out. So it's back to being Flash favored in team fights, but it's much, much closer than it ever really should have been. Also want to praise Meliodas for coming back very, very well into this game. Has been landing some very, very nice Kiana ults, despite the absolutely massive deficit he was at in the early game. Has come back to have a real impact on this game.
Level 16 also same level as Yijin, so not even right now. So very good comeback for him. And it's, of course, Kiana is a hard jungler to play right now, especially in the early game. It's still Kiana and pro play in the end, right?
Yep. That ult
is still one of the most absurd abilities in the game with the ult.
Yep. I mean, I think you can nerf her all you like until you change that ult. She's going to see pro play.
Yeah.
At least as a fringe. Just so powerful. Yoshino, down on the bot side here, is quite lonely. Doesn't have enough vision to really go for a push. Actually would have been pretty safe, but he didn't know that. So back he goes. Good decision.
Yeah, a lot of vision, by the way, for DB. I really like the... in their own bot side jungle to spot out potential split pushes. Everything else is focused around top side, which with the Baron spawning and no dragon on the map makes a lot of sense.
Yoshino's sitting on the pad. He wants to come in with move speed.
There we go.
Here he comes. Can they lock them down for him to hit the flank? He's coming in at top speed, but he's still
away,
got
though.
a little way to go. He does still have that flash. He's got the E as well. He hasn't used it yet.
MF is far away.
MF, yeah, wow, this is not happening. There's the slicing maelstrom and the bullet time doing a lot of damage, but Husband manages to live through it, of course, because he's in the death realm. There's Yoshino getting that first kill. Meliodas is down as well, and so far it's a 2-0. This should be the free Baron.
Yep, there we go. Slater took a very long path to get there. Maybe he got stunned as well. I'm not quite sure. He was missing from the fight for the first 5-6 seconds, but in the end, enough sustain on Flash to survive even a 4v5 situation, then reinforce with Slater's ult. Also a lot of control with a slicing maelstrom and bullet time. So it's a very strong teamfight combination. But the game is still not over. Another Baron over to Flash. But as I said before, Baron doesn't actually matter too much. So
I agree. It is another Elder Dragon in 20 seconds, though. Slater, I don't actually like what he's just done. He's just taken a camp. He doesn't have time to reset, though. He needs to be going down to this Elder Drag.
Yeah, okay. Slater got stunned on the top side, so it took him a long time to get. Now he's arrived. Now he puts the bullet time down. Actually, this denies Bikuro from entering the fight. Bikuro has to back off, so he can't get any auto attacks in. More stopwatches. So Bikuro actually didn't land a whole lot of auto attacks in this fight, and that's crucial.
And Meliodas has died again, caught in the jungle while an Elder Dragon's up. This should be the free Elder, and yep, you can see the backs are already being called. That is an absolutely massive pick. We'll have to get a replay on that, how that happened. Because Meliodas should not be taking any risks while Elder is on the map. Should be playing as safe as humanly possible.
This should be the final nail. And this should really be the end of the game. It's Ocean Soul, it's Baron, and Elder Dragon on the side of Flash. So
if Flash
DBL
can't
can win a
win
teamfight
here,
now,
if Flash can't win with all of these buffs, just disband. Don't even just FF, disband.
That's rough.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, so thankfully they won't have to act on my words. As already, they're pushing in. There's still a tiny little death timer on Meliodas, but I think they'll just take the fight in the base as a big Graviton ult does come in, but the CC does not matter. There is nothing DBL can do, and Flash will start off the second series of tonight with a free win. Well, not free, actually. DBL fought very, very hard, but it was a convincing win regardless.
Very interesting game. Very non-VCS game. Looked a lot like a slower region here. Very slow early game. I liked Flash's early control in the jungle. I liked DB in terms of macro. I thought their movement around the map in the early game far superior to Flash's. But then Flash with stronger team fighting, good objective control as well. So a lot of good things happened in this game. Not that many mistakes from individual players, in my opinion. A few catches here and there, of course.
I think Meliodas getting caught before that last Elder, which we didn't actually see what happened because it happened during a replay and the game ended too quickly. But it doesn't really matter how it happened. Getting caught in that situation is a huge mistake. But it was very close to the end of the game. So hard to say he had a terrible game all the way through. Any kind of dip.
Yeah, it was a very strange game for Meliodas. He struggled a lot in the early game plays, objectives there here and there as well. So recovered a bit in the mid game, mid stages of the game, and then in the late game suddenly gets caught and the game is over. DBL not looking too bad either. A very close game. It looks like a top of the table match, so it's good to see. This is our match of the week. Not quite as exciting maybe as the first game in our first series today in terms of action, but very tense and very fun to watch as well. We saw the Ocean Soul, we saw 2 Elder Dragons go down in another 40-minute game. Today seems to be the day of long games.
That it does. Concerned that it's already so late here and we've still got potentially 2 games. But, of course, I don't mind at all. So we do have to pick an MVP for game number 1. Not super easy.
Who decided this game? I kind of want to give it over to for his early pathing.
Yeah.
He was very smart.
That was my initial thought. Played very well on the Olaf.
Yeah, I think not a single carry player actually did enough to earn the MVP. All of them played okay in team fights, but especially Carti and Slater got caught by a supreme display of talents that were not directed at them a little too often, in my opinion. So I'd give it to Yijin.
Yep, I completely agree with that. So we'll lock in Yijin for that, and we will just take a little bit of a break, as we have about 9 minutes until game 2 to see if Flash can lock it up 2-0, or if DBL will take us to the 6th game of tonight and the 3rd game of this series. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back very, very soon. Hello, everybody. How are we? We're coming back a little bit early here because we've got a little bit to talk about going into game 2 here of DBL versus Flash. So, Yulwei, you've obviously got some thoughts. Please do run us through them. Where do you think DBL can fight back in this series, potentially take us to game 3?
So this game is a little bit of a concerning game for DBL because they didn't really find anything to threaten Flash. I mean, Flash had a few misplays around objectives, but in the end, Flash still was kind of the more active team and the team in the driver's seat. And at no point in the game did it really feel like DBL was in control, right? They got the first Elder Dragon, but as you pointed out in game, even when they got the Elder Dragon, they couldn't actually do anything. So I kind of think they have to approach something very differently in draft. I would like to see Null on a more late game carry oriented champ. I really liked his Cassiopeia. His Rumble didn't look bad, like he had great Rumble ults, but yeah, he can't carry the game with the Rumble. So maybe go back to more late game scaling is my first wish, I guess. And then Flash, what did you feel about in this game? Flash?
I mean, I completely agree that Flash was in the driver's seat for most of the game, but I honestly think they were super hard carried by the fact that they got Soul Sewer. I feel like they made enough mistakes in the later end of the mid game that if they didn't already have Soul secured, they could have potentially been in quite a lot of trouble.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
DBL was hitting some very, very good ult combos. The fights were fairly close at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the fact is that they got sort of gifted the Soul. There were some mistakes by DBL that let them get to Soul Point and then let them actually confirm the Soul itself. And if that doesn't happen again, I think DBL's absolutely got a fighting chance here.
Yeah, I agree. This might have been the most Dragon Soul, or the biggest influence I've seen all season in all the leagues I've watched for Dragon Soul, actually. Because most of the time, it's like, okay, Dragon Soul is nice to have. The Dragons, in the end, the team that got the Soul is most of the team that won anyway. And this game might be the first game where the Soul mattered more than it maybe should have mattered, if you look at the changes. This is a pure Season 10 game. This potentially would have looked very different in Season 9. So, yeah, I agree. Very interesting game to look back at. And maybe Flash will struggle a little bit more. If this had been a Mountain Soul, maybe they wouldn't have won all the team fights there, right?
Yeah, the one criticism I do have of DBL, though, other than the very obvious one that Meliodas needs to not get caught, that's not a systemic thing, though. That's just don't get caught. Everyone knows that. Hopefully he won't do it again. Is Big Koro wasn't able to use his lead as much as I think he should have, as we do head into potentially the final champion select. Hopefully we have potentially a whole nother game. We'll have to find out.
Yeah. So no changes for DBL. They don't bring. I was kind of expecting Pan back in after Hasmet had a very game on the Mordekais. Yeah, but Hasmet's still there, and I also like that they give him another chance. I think so. Great split, and after one bad game, you probably shouldn't sub him out, considering it's also Yoshino on the other side. It's very hard to sub in your very young rook into Yoshino, who just had a great cannon game, or an average cannon game.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. for Husmed. I'm glad they give another one, and it looks like the bans are going pretty much unchanged here. Another blue side Akali ban, which is very, very strange.
So Aphelios is the premier first pick here in this situation, I'd say. Zed is banned, Akali is banned, so I don't see any reason to not pick Aphelios. The only reason Slater does not want to pick him.
Syndra.
And
I think Syndra's...
potentially
There's a
Syndra?
strong argument for Syndra.
yeah, Syndra is actually not a bad pick either, especially if on, which might be the case. He has not played him so far. He has a game on Kalista, but no game on
We LCK boys. But it is
Yep.
Aphelios and Olaf being locked up. Yijin will be denied the chance to run another Viking game back.
I like to see that as well. Elliot is just picking up the stronger jungler. He struggled a lot in the matchup. Got 3 buffed. Got completely controlled in the early game. Should be the jungler that dictates the matchup and maybe gets a big lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like Flash wants this Braum once again. Again, makes sense to me. Denies the potential Ornn pick and also makes an MF pick look very, very good for Slater. I wouldn't mind seeing the MF again.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You've already secured the Braum. Very strong into Aphelios as well. As you saw, Big Kuro struggled a lot with and the assassin or the cannon tried to kill him just because the bullet time blocked of all the path he could take.
They're actually going to opt into the Kiana-Olaf matchup, which last game went horribly for the Kiana. Of course, the players reversed this time.
Maybe a little bit of hubris here for Yijin, saying, you can't do to me what I did to you. It's a very risky pick, but considering Meliodas is also not a great play, this might be the correct assessment. Think back to Meliodas' Karthus attempts. Not great.
No.
Meliodas is great ganking jungler, but his pathing can be very questionable. He doesn't have the greatest understanding of efficiency in the jungle, and yeah, I think this is probably fine for Yijin here.
Yeah, and with the MF ban here, we are seeing Slater pushed further and further down the tier list. Could still go to Xayah, which I wouldn't mind. He might go to Kai'Sa, which I do mind. Nor losing his LeBlanc. I think maybe Flash is thinking along similar lines as you, thinking Null probably wants to go towards something he can carry a bit more on, so they're going to remove his best one.
Yeah, that's good to see. Would like to see the Cassiopeia ban as well. Forced Null on hasn't had the biggest success with it so far. He can still go to his Rise, to his Oriana. Of course, still 2 strong late game carries, but yeah, remove the Cassiopeia. That would be my pick here. What else do you want to pinch? I think
they
there's
get rid of the
nothing
Rise.
else you need. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the other side of that coin, and they're going to let Husmed play this Mordekaiser again, run it back even after quite the bad game.
And I know you don't want to hear it, but
Soraka possible. Could have Soraka Yuumi. No, you can't really have the Yuumi, but you definitely have Soraka.
Yeah,
and
Soraka
it is Xayah being picked. Good. Not Kai'Sa.
Yeah, no big surprise. Slater, one of the 2 players in Pentacle. 2 Xayah Pentacles so far.
Yeah, so, very, very strong.
One of his favorite champs, 4th pick this season already, so I think he's very comfortable on this Xayah pick. Can be very strong into Aphelios, can
this is
struggle
what I
into
thought.
Aphelios as well. Yes.
Why I thought the Mordekaiser pick was really, really sus, because here comes Yoshino's Fiora.
Might still be flexed, the Mordekaiser.
I think it might want to be flexed.
Yeah, you might want to send the Karma on the top lane.
I think Karma still not great into Fiora.
You think so? I think Karma pushes out Fiora early game.
Yeah, I more mean as the game goes on.
Yeah, of course.
Still
no one is good into Fiora later on in the game.
That's true. No one can really beat her in the 1v1, but you need someone that can actually at least catch waves, and that's going to be a little bit difficult.
It's actually a very interesting thought experiment to think about champs that cannot die or can just push out waves into Fiora late game. I think one of the few is probably Poppy, if you itemize correctly.
Gangplank can push waves.
It's risky though. Gangplank can die very quickly to Fiora. Camille can win the 1v1. It's not easy. And super late game Fiora wins, but I think Camille is the better one. But yeah, Mordekaiser gets stomped by Fiora. It's one of the worst matchups as far as I know.
Yeah.
So
it might be the worst, except like cheese picks like Vayne top.
yeah,
it might be the worst actual top laner. Oh, and they
this
have
is already the third Fiora.
But to be fair,
it's Mordekaiser.
It's Mordekaiser. They fixed it. It's not Mordekai's. So we're happy to see that for sure. They listened.
No miss this game as well. So
yeah, can't test that one.
Can't confirm.
One else is spelt right, but I still think the colours on the Fiora picture are washed out. The one has like quite vibrant red hair, the streak, but
this picture is very ugly, I have to say. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Not the best angle. She's got quite the chin.
Nope.
She's got a bit of the crimson chin going on there. But hopefully we get into game very, very soon, so we can talk about things that might be a little bit more important than splash arts, to see what the teams are doing. I ask you this very, very often, and I'll do it again.
Scaling.
Where do you think... Well, not the scaling. I do ask you that a lot, but not the scaling. Where do you think the junglers will put their focus early on?
So we once again have Kiana against Olaf. Kiana just wants to not get shit on in the jungle. Well, we'll see if she can get there.
Blunt.
I think you could go for an early Kiana Flash E gank, a Flash EQ gank, I should say, on either mid or top lane, in my opinion. Probably the most likely gank spots for Yijin. Other than that, just look for skirmishes at level 6. Usually, Kianas actually don't try to gank at level 6. They try to invade and kill the enemy jungler. Sadly, this time it's Olaf, so that's very hard to do.
Yep, absolutely. But Yoshino with a good start, got the favourable Vital.
Conqueror Fiora as well, so no Grasp. Usually Grasp Fiora is picked up a lot because she doesn't need the Conqueror. But in this matchup, I guess the Conqueror is making her even stronger. So.
In this matchup, you don't need the Grasp. It's very similar argument, and I think going Conqueror against Conqueror makes a lot of sense. Could potentially lose some drawn-out engages in the Death Realm otherwise. Bit of a tragedy. But again,
going back to the jungler point, I think Meliodas can't gank any solo lane. The only ganks I think he can potentially gank is bot lane, but then it's into Braum, and Olaf ganks into Braum are quite sad to watch because he just stands there and absorbs the Axe. So actually Meliodas will just power farm potentially, because all three lanes are very hard to gank, especially early on. Olaf into Xayah, not great either, before he has his CC immunity. She can set up the feathers and stun him very easily. No hard CC from the Olaf. Very little hard CC from the lane as well. It's only Gravitum, really. So, this might be a very quiet early game in terms of ganks, because on either side can really go for big ganks.
Yeah, High playing super aggressive here on this Tahm Kench. You love to see it.
And that's with Aphelios level 1. One of the worst level 1 champs in.
I'd say arguably the worst. Yeah, I really can't.
Still has a lot of range to Harris. Yeah, he has no.
Maybe Azir is worse. He is pretty bad level 1.
Yeah, Azir is pretty atrocious.
But definitely the worst ADC level 1 at the very least. We can agree on that one. But regardless, it's a very good shove in. This Tahm Kench playstyle has emerged a fair bit. A CBL jumps forward there because Yijin is coming down. It should be able to get onto Big Corrin, but they might go on to High instead. They just want to potentially get the free kill on the Frog, but he's a tanky boy with that Guardian. Oh dear, oh dear. And now we might be getting a turn because here comes Meliodas. Another mark, another bit of damage. The stealth field thrown towards them. Just a threat. And Gravitum did come out there just as the guns swapped. And it's first blood for Big Corrin.
And that's the reason you don't gank as Kiana early on. And you're very squishy. And you don't actually have that much. You rely on your... So very unsuccessful first gank coming in for Flash, and DBL off to a great start, Meliodas especially. And of course, Bikoro collecting the early first blood here, denying a lot of creeps.
Yeah, absolutely. And potentially picking up a fair bit of tower damage as Yoshino gets the bad end of a trade up in top lane. Often you see that in this matchup, but well done by Hazmed.
So what you want to do in this match is probably just wait for the death's grasp, and then counter that with your parry, right?
Yeah. That or death.
Another engage.
And Meliodas is dead. Ooh, unnecessary flash by Cuddy, but does get him the kill.
He was very bloodthirsty there. He really wanted that kill. Now he's actually in a quite risky position to go down to Meliodas and Karma. Let's look at this again. They engage on high. I think the follow-up here is a little early on high. I think you should have waited a little bit longer for the for better CC layering.
Yep.
I think they stacked it up a little bit too much. And then, of course, Bikuru is still full HP, and he's still Aphelios, even though Aphelios has no items. Still quite ridiculous, this champ is. Especially, he actually played a great Aphelios there, because he got through his ammo and got to the, was aware that Gravitum the next gun. Gravitum gave the only CC in the lane, so
yeah,
good awareness. It's not like a very hard play to make, but it's still good to see he's practiced on the champ and has good awareness for his weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be much easier to praise him for that one if it wasn't the first rotation of weapons that literally goes in a set order. You always get Gravitum in your first swap. But regardless, the big awareness is awareness of his ammo count. He used a Calibrum Q that was like not particularly effective. Just the reason he used it is because it's 10 ammo. And he just instantly got to the Gravitum, flashed forward, played that really, really well. So I do agree. It was a very good Aphelios play, which is good to see. For sure.
Yep. You can definitely see the improvement over the course of the last month. When the LPL started, all Aphelios horrendous. They were so bad. Aphelios' win rate in LPL actually was very bad because no one could play Aphelios. Now, even in VCS, we see good Aphelios play. So
yeah, about time.
Good to see people learning the.
DBL does secure the Infernal Drake, so Flash at least will not get 4 straight Drakes this game. So we do have a 50% chance of heading on to another Infernal Rift. Sorry, not Infernal, Ocean Rift, I should say. Quite the opposite. As, once again, an Olaf is invading a Qiyana's jungle and stealing away the Raptors.
Yeah, not a big surprise there. It's also had by 11 CS. Few camps has secured his first jungle item, so the whatever it's called, the item without the enchantment. There we go. Blue Smite secured for Meliodas, and he'll reinforce the bot lane once again. It's very dangerous Flash right now. I don't think they can dive though.
Oh, I don't know. Chakrams and Calibrum doing a lot of damage here. The teleport is used. Damage. They can just walk away now.
This turret. Oh, God, this combination is so dirty. It's potentially the strongest combination on.
It depends on the situation. In this situation, it's definitely the strongest. In general,
it's definitely the most obnoxious. I think the most obnoxious combination. You get more and more damage, and the enemy team can't do anything because on this patch, still from the base, if you want.
Yep.
Next patch, or on 10.3, it's I think 1,300 units.
Something like that. It's still huge. So I actually don't think.
Huge.
I don't actually think functionally it's much.
It won't do much for solo, but it's a little bit. It's a good nerf and the first step, I guess. And in 10.4, as far as I know, the turrets get nerfed a whole lot, so they lose a lot of HP.
To kill.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with the Aphelios balancing problem, I'd rather they stop taking the first step and start breaking into a sprint. Really try and break some sprinting records, because at least he's fairly fun to watch, right? As Yoshino gets another good trade.
We'll actually Players.
Maybe.
Because Players might be on 10.5, and 10.5 might be the point where he gets nerfed for real. Because all the little nerfs are not enough.
Maybe. I mean, it'd be cool to see more than 3 AD carries. Don't want it to be like Worlds Meta last year, where it was Xayah Kai'Sa, and now it's just MF Aphelios, MF Aphelios. Though I don't mind watching MF. Bullet time is at least fun.
So it seems like Ezreal has re-entered the meta.
That's true.
See for sure. Ezreal Yuumi, one of the premier. So next week we might get to see a lot of Ezreal in the VCS as well. That said, Ezreal is not the greatest VCS champ, and we don't really have a lot of good Ezreal players here. I'd say
Yeah.
Slater is talented. Bicol can play the Ezreal, but we don't really have like a deft caliber of Ezreal player. So yeah, not super keen to see the return of Ezreal, even though I think he's cool to watch if the player is good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, as you said, Ezreal is a bit more of a specialist ADC. If he gets any buffs or if the big two begin to fall off, I'm saying big two because Senna, we already know what's happening to. He's not going to be an AD carry for much longer.
Yeah.
Definitely a decision. Oh, there's actually an engage there in the mid game that we did flick away from. As Null's dead.
Yeah.
They actually split away. They split away right as the engage come in, but there we go. Null dead.
There was a fight in bot lane as well, so this time we can't actually blame the observers too much. Should have probably stayed with the Syndra. Syndra has a lot of burst potential. Both ults used for flash there, and easy kill secured for the mid laner. They didn't even have to use the flash, and flash from Null, so a potential regank now on the cards as well.
Yep, absolutely. And that kill does potentially give the Rift Herald over to Flash, but down in the bottom lane, 200 years of game design at work. As Aphelios, it seemed like he just... I mean, they must have got the better of an actual, not completely degenerate trade, and then the Infernum ult did finish it off.
Yep. That was a lot of damage from Bicol. Once again, a great start.
Observers on a tour at the moment. Yeah, but we will get the replay. This is on the mid lane. Hopefully we get 2 replays.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, Q doesn't land actually for Yujin, but he re-engaged the stun from Cardi into double ult. No chance for Null. That was rough.
Null just got just immediately annihilated. Now hopefully we get a replay of the bot lane play.
Bicol is stomping this lane. It's ridiculous. They have 4 plates secured already without Rift Herald play. They 30 CS up, 2 kills secured already. So it's a big struggle for Slater. Bicol 2 games in a row, Aphelios. I mean, Slater, you need to pick up this champ. It's a good champ.
Yeah, Slater is super slow to adapt his ADC pool. Like, he's been picking Kai'Sa. Yeah. Like, above champs like Aphelios. Like, Slater does need to get that a bit together. Yoshino goes for the Vital, does get another good trade, though into Mordekaiser, all Fiora trades are pretty good trades.
I'm quite surprised Husman didn't go for the Bramblewest early on. Most people go Bramblewest into Fiora.
Have to. I think it's a pretty big mistake just to go Seekers. Not really enough.
Yeah, he seems to really favor his Seekers into Natural's itemization. He went for the same into set.
Oh wow, in the mid lane there. Yijin throws the ult, but it doesn't really do anything. Manages to trade it back to 1-for-1. Does Cardi, flashes over the wall. Manages to live. Meliodas will just farm it up. 1-for-1.
Yep. Meliodas didn't have the flash to follow because he used the flash to get in range in the first place, and Cardi got hit by the big burst from Meliodas and the turret shot. It looked like Meliodas did like 600 damage in 1E, but of course there was a turret shot involved as well. Little bit overzealous for flash. In the end, it's still a 1-for-1, so still a big, probably advantageous for flash because Cardi is now sitting on a 3-0, and early 3-0 for Syndra, very dangerous.
Absolutely. And again, we look down to this bot lane, which is, to borrow a term, the absolute lane kingdom for Big Koro. He is just destroying them. Credit where credit is due, of course, for High as well. Has played super aggressive on the Tahm Kench.
Great Tahm Kench game
Has been getting that tongue out as much as possible. Overall, a very, very strong bot lane performance. Look at the gold difference.
It's disgusting.
1,500 gold already?
And I mean, if every Tahm Kench played like this, like, go ahead and pick Tahm Kench.
No one's
complaining, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a playstyle that's becoming more popular because of Senna, because Senna made it super safe, and I think Tahm Kench is saying, hang on, we don't actually need the Senna to play like that. We can still just have a bit more aggression in lane, which I like. Yijin summoning Shelly up.
So it's not the late plate Shelly we all want to see. With 2 plates, but not really. Okay, Shelly, what are you
Got the charge.
That was
Bit weird.
It was strange. She really struggled with the wall there. I can't change through this wall. I need to walk up to the turret 1 centimeter before the turret and then charge. Not sure
She's
where
not like
where she got-
Scion. She can't curve it.
Yep. Okay.
But
they still got the 2 plates, so
they
whatever.
did. Unfortunately, couldn't get solo gold on Ducati. It was a little bit too dangerous. So it was split.
He's accelerated enough, so it's actually good to give a little bit gold. Very good gold scaling champ.
Very true.
Kiana as well. Even though she doesn't have to be fat in terms of gold, because you still have the ult, as we talked about in length at length game. Great ult to still impact the game, even if you're behind.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how long it really took for them to think of that. Maybe a couple hundred years. But it is the first tower going down in the bot lane. Honestly, as expected, the pressure is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think this is being balanced by how much Yoshino is winning top. I mean, it's obviously not, but I don't think going forward it will be either. We could just see Bikoro carry.
Yeah. The question becomes now at DBL. How can you accelerate this? You're 1k ahead. Bikoro is super strong compared to Zaya. You need to accelerate this bot lane matchup more, and I think you need to swap to the top lane, which is very slow right now. The Hasmet is still in the top lane. Did not use the last wave to reset here, so Bikoro is actually in the mid lane now. Has the chakrams, so a lot of turret damage should go down, but we're past 40 minutes, so it doesn't really matter if the turret doesn't go down completely.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. I mean, one of the big problems is this Aphelios is so safe with the Tahm Kench shielding them. The big hope, of course, is potential burst from Syndra. Slater can still scale, despite being super far behind Big Koro. It's not like Slater is, taking a lot of deaths. And Yoshino actually hard losing this trade, but pops the last vital in the ult, so he's got the heal field. It's going to be really close, but Husband wins that. Not particularly well played by Yoshino. It did his absolute best, but in the end, the Mordekaiser does win out. Yoshino had a chance to back off.
Early resistances. Yeah, it's just the early resistances against.
He has a lot of armor.
The sheer power of items overwhelmed the champion disadvantage there. I quite liked what Yoshino tried to attempt there. Go for the completed ult to get the healing, and then try to overwhelm the enemy with additional HP. Not enough though, and now even more armor stacked up with the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, this is potentially a bit of a... Once again, the Yoshino Fiora might not be able to do enough. The last time he played it, he did go 7-1 or something, but they lost.
Yep, they did.
So they might not be able to transfer the potential advantage into any real damage. He's also a kill down and only 10 CS ahead. So far, I'd say this Fiora is really failing.
Yep, it is. And Hasmet also has to be praised for keeping up in CS, and now it's solo killing new. We criticized him for his build. I thought the Bramble West would be better, but he got by building a little bit more aggressively. The AP armor item, not the pure armor
Cardi in a lot of trouble here. Got hit by the Gravitum, and they're charging forward. And Aphelios gets the kill. Big Koro is now 3-0. So far, DBL looking very, very good. The supreme display of talent will stun absolutely everyone, but there's no damage follow-up.
Yeah.
As it was all used onto
charged at high.
Yep. That's a mistake that VCS has been making a lot recently. Dumping everything into supports is not a good idea.
Absolutely.
And oh no, there's the flamethrower. Yijin has taken a lot, and despite the re-engage, DBL still has priority on this mid lane tower.
Yeah, the game looks very dire for Flash. Enemy team is on soul point, is far ahead, and your top laner can't team fight. You can only split, and he's not winning. The enemy AD carry is probably finishing his second big item, and with the next chop, I anticipate the IE to come in. How can he ever win team fights here? Nall is protecting the enemy AD carry. There's Tahm Kench. There's no way they kill Big Koro. He still has his flash available as well. So right now, Flash is really needs something to happen in their favor. I don't think they can ever look to win a 5v5 right now.
I'm really worried. It's already 1:45 in the morning, and we're probably having a game 3. As Yoshino just loses this matchup now. Just straight up. He can't... with the dodge on the Obliterate and the favourable Vital, no. Yeah, I mean, Yoshino's done. He's just done.
Sadly, I couldn't actually see that because my pros.
Yeah,
he got only commentate from.
He got smacked in a 1v1 against Husband. I think Yoshino's done.
Not a good sign. I think this game is almost done for Flash, and shouldn't take DBL too long to finish this one off as well. Once again, second game way more convincing than the first game, like in the first series. So now we're looking at 2 minutes to the soul point, and yeah, there we go. It's just super hard to catch up Koro. He's full life again. Severum doing work.
Yeah, absolutely. He does get gobbled up and spat back out. Yijin coming in here, but what are you doing, son? Completely by himself. Husmed walking in. CBL will be the first one to fall. And DBL looks like they'll be taking us to a game 3.
My God.
Oh my God. I think you saw that one a little bit ahead of us. That was the healing Moonlight. So that was healing. What?
20-minute Baron now on the table.
Yeah, and I mean, they'll shred this. Aphelios has the absolute best single target damage combination.
Yeah, this is a game you would definitely surrender. And so hopeless for Flash.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where Yoshino or something is you're furious and they go, no, guys, I split push. I'm like, no, dude.
Yeah, I scale. We have the late game.
Please stop wasting my time, dude. Please stop wasting my time. I just want to leave. My word. Flash looking very, very vulnerable in this series. We were saying that they could have lost game 1 if they hadn't been gifted quite as many dragons, and in this game too, they've looked, honestly, pretty bad.
Yep. Bot lane especially.
Bot lane especially, I'd say top lane's pretty bad.
Of course. Yeah. But bot lane got smashed harder in lane. I picked the wrong fights and definitely doesn't look very great on this champ, who is a hard counter.
Yeah.
He should not lose this matchup, that's for sure. But yeah, bot lane was very rough as well.
Doing so well. Yeah, overall, look at this damage. Oh my God. That's the lowest damage Aphelios ult by a lot. And he still just absolutely blew up Slater.
Yep. Look at the shield as well.
Yeah,
Severum shield plus mountain shield plus karma shield.
Yeah.
My God.
Look at it. How do you kill Big Koro?
You can't. I actually like this karma pick a lot. If Big Koro is playing this well on Aphelios, just good karma. Even though Null might be the big star right now in the team. I mean, protect the strongest champ in the game.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Protect the Koro. And it looks like they will be pushing towards the inhib. Flash, just nothing they can do to stop them, as that could have been even more damage onto Yijin if CBL hadn't been there to intercept the auto.
And we might get to see a pre-28-minute Elder Dragon.
Yeah,
and that is... I mean, if the game lasts this long, I'm not sure about that, because might just be over with the next push if DBL picks another fight, and there we go.
You're a little bit ahead, so might have to just try and catch up, as Yijin has been completely caught out there. Decent ult, but look at the Aphelios damage. That Infernum ult doing way too much. Yoshino does go down. It's a triple kill for Husmed in the end, and they're going to walk on. And we are going to game 3.
What a stomp. This was a ridiculous stomp. They just wiped the floor with Flash.
This was...
No one could have expected that after the first game.
Absurdly one-sided.
Yeah.
It was not close whatsoever. And, I mean, did anyone expect that? I mean,
Nope.
I think a few people predicted DBL to take a game, but in
Yeah,
that fashion,
this game
I
is definitely
I changed my
possible.
prediction. I had Flash 2-1 and I changed to Flash 2-0.
I have Flash 2-1, but right now it looks more like DBL 2-1.
Yeah, it's looking a lot more like DBL 2.
So the Flash debuff for game 1, this time coming in game 2 maybe. They
Yeah.
won game 1, then we're like, oh god, we won game 1? What is going on? Let's calm down, guys. We need to lose the game.
And I mean, again, this was a bit of a really concerning failure. DivKid once again went to the Zaya. I don't think he should have. MF was absolutely pickable. Slater, sorry. DivKid. Wow. I mean, he does it as well. But I mean, I do mean Slater, of course. I don't think that was a good... And then Yoshino pulled out the Fiora that he loves and got taken to Clowntown.
Yeah, absolutely. Hasmid stomped him. So shout out to Hasmid. This was a very impressive game from DBL. I think Flash definitely got a little bit like, I'm not sure. Do you want to call it hubris? But I think the jungle matchup was
definitely
the jungle matchup was very, very much there to pick the Kiana into Olaf after you just stomped Kiana with Olaf. Kiana didn't really do a whole lot. She landed one good gank in the mid lane, but in the end, it didn't matter. Olaf had great impact, and Vikoro just ran away with the game. Even though you had 3-0 Syndra, what can she do against Tahm Kench, against Karma, against Mountain Drake? Nothing.
So, we have to decide between two people for MVP. I think there are two options.
Top or bot lane?
Top or bot. Big Horo was incredible, but Hasmid was also incredible in a very bad matchup.
Yeah, that's true. I still think if you look at the game impact, it has carried the game. Big shout out to Hasmid. He performed way better than anyone expected, and he he won this matchup that is very hard to win against the best player potentially in the top lane, maybe the second best player, but I'd
definitely say
at least one of the best. So yeah,
that's very true.
It feels like the narrative MVP would be Hasmid, but I think we have to give it to Big Koro after this performance.
I agree with that. We'll lock in Big Koro, and we will somewhat ominously, for Flash's fans, that is, we're going to Game 3 of a hot performance from DBL. Will Flash be able to stabilize, or will Mr. Buffalo rise up once again, potentially on the back of Hasmed in the top? We'll find out in about 7 minutes. We'll see you back then. Please do stay tuned in. We love having you here.
And if this series follows the same trend as the first series, Flash should stomp the next game. Because in the first series, we had a very close game 1, then a stomp for one team, and then a stomp for the team that won game 1. So that's a good sign for Flash. The last game, not so much.
Absolutely. But we will find out very soon. We hope you're here to watch with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Hello. Welcome back to the 6th game of today. Both series have gone the full length that they could possibly have gone. And we have Game 3.
With long games as well.
Oh, yeah.
Not like
Don't worry.
Stomps.
Don't worry. I'm feeling it. I love it, though. We love a good League of Legends. And, I mean, we've got entertaining League of Legends. Let me put it that way. But we have...
DBL played good League of Legends
last game, sure. But we have to see if Flash can bounce back, or if they will go from beating Gum to losing to DBL, I should say.
Beating themselves.
Yeah.
Especially in draft phase.
I don't think that's fair, honestly. I think DBL beat them.
DBL is definitely putting in work, especially bot lane.
Yeah, Big Koro absolutely came out swinging. It was an absolute disgusting matchup, and we are heading straight into Champ Select. Absolutely no time for anything else. And here we go. What do we think needs to change for Team Flash, other than the arrogance?
Yeah, a different jungle matchup. That's down to the arrogance a little bit, potentially. Also, Yoshino please go with meta top laner. I know you Fiora god, but
Well,
if you want to play Fiora, you need to go, 3-0, 4-0 in lane at least. So if you can't do that, just go back to meta. Maybe go back to On. Would actually be super funny to see him play On after getting stomped onto Fiora. It's the punishment from Surge. It's like, okay, Yoshino, you had your will. Now I get mine. Play On. Slater also needs to step up, as someone in Discord also rightfully pointed out. He has been struggling against Bikoro and High, and Slater CBL is supposed to be better than Bikoro High. So far, not the case.
Yeah, absolutely. This bot lane is meant to win, is the thing.
Yeah.
And CBL is even drawing Blitzcrank bans, and they're still losing. It's kind of free, and Aphelios has gotten through again. They banned Tahm Kench instead of Aphelios.
It's interesting. I think they banned Tahm Kench in reaction to the Blitzcrank ban, because the Blitzcrank ban is pretty much indicating that different places high priority on the Kench. Blitzcrank, one of the most efficient counter picks into Tahm Kench, of course, and very good pair with Bikoro's Aphelios again. It's 3 straight Aphelios games. I'm not too sure.
I think they should have.
Flash should have given that up.
Yeah, I think that should have been banned over the Tahm Kench. Like, if they pick Kench, like, that doesn't matter. It matters who's paired with the Kench. And currently, Aphelios is by far the strongest option. Dahl gets his Zoe, which he's very, very good on, and Meliodas will take Olaf for the second game in a row. You have a bit of deviance with Jarvan being picked up this time.
I agree with you that Null is a very good Zoe player. Still like to see run back of comp with the Karma in the mid lane. Very strong with Olaf, very good with Aphelios, especially extra shielding. This time you don't have the added safety of the Tahm Kench. You also can't go for the Braum, as he's now denied by Team Flash. So would have really liked to see another Karma. Maybe we get to see Karma top lane, which still is possible as well. But yeah, Zoe, just a comfort champ, and Null, one of the best Zoe players in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And the MF being banned out as well, forcing Slater to potentially go onto Xayah again, which looked really, really bad last game in lane at least. Got absolutely dominated by Big Koro's Aphelios. Of course, it will be different because High won't have the Kench. That was a big part of why they won that lane. Ban Husband Mordekaiser. Don't pick Fiora again. Don't do it.
They have last pick. They're on red side. Might set up for a strong top lane matchup. Would like to see a little bit more meta. Maybe Set is banned, of course. But yeah, maybe a strong duelist that can also play team fights. Probably. Ashe, Varus. Oh, Kalista. There we go. That's interesting. The Shadow Alt spot lane.
I like it. I like it a lot. Of course, not friends, the two of them, but they are both from the Shadow Isles. And it's going to be answered potentially with the Nautilus. Interesting there. Why Nautilus over Leona? Ooh, and the Ornn as well.
Nautilus is a little bit better into Thresh, I'd say, compared to the Leona.
Probably.
Leona gets stopped by Thresh Flay, while Nautilus doesn't really. I mean, Flash can flame away as harder to do, and he has a point-and-click ultimate that can't be denied by a Braum or anything. So, a smart draft, I think, for the Dashing Buffalo to close it out with the Ornn, because Braum is banned already, and we'll get to see another cannon game. Not a fan.
Why are we still here? Suffer.
Yeah.
Can see these drafts.
Into Hasmid. This time, I would have liked to see the Vladimir. Hero would have picked Vladimir here, and I think Vladimir would have fit the comp and gave them a better late game tool, because now it's very early mid game focused for Flash. Not a single great scaling champ. Maybe Cannon could make an argument for Cannon to be a scaling pick, especially with no exhaust in the enemy team.
Yeah, that's pretty important. No exhaust. I mean, but then again, Husband could be running Spellbook.
Yeah, that's true.
Which does give
I really like the exhaust as a hard counter to Cannon. Whenever you see Cannon getting a team fight, he's almost completely useless. So
yeah,
I think you should always go exhaust into Cannon as support. I know the Ignite feels better for lane, it's stronger in the 2v2, but you know, It's not always only about 2v2.
Also, exhausting Callista's really, really strong because it slows her attack speed
It's true.
by a lot. Because obviously slows make her hops slower, and she can't auto attack without hopping. I still think she should just lose distance on her hops. It have the same effect in terms of her movement speed, but would allow her to have attack speed. But regardless, it is
Callista is a champ.
Callista is a champ. She has genuinely come back into meta though, like as fringe meta.
Has she?
She's been played in the LCK like twice.
Yeah, by Ruler, who is like super legendary.
True,
So,
but
who draws Callista bans all the time. I think he's the only other player to really play Callista. So Slater tries to be Ruler here. The first time he played Callista, he had a great game. So it's good to see him bring out the comfort pick. I would have liked to see him on maybe a little bit more of an hyper carry here. Might even go for something like Jinx into Aphelios. Maybe you can actually handshake lane and then scale.
Yeah, Jinx could have been super fun. I haven't seen a Jinx in a very long time. So I think one might have been playing in the LCK today, but I didn't watch the game.
Yeah, sadly. I just saw that Jinx was locked in. So I know there was a Jinx. That's why I also thought about the Jinx. I would really like to see a little bit more hyper carry ADC meta come back as well. If you Kog'Maws here and there, maybe a Twitch would be cool to see. Something different, not only Xayah, Kai'Sa, Aphelios, and MF.
Yeah. I mean, Aphelios is kind of a hyper carry. Not quite the same. I'd like some classic hyper carry. I'd love to see some Twitch. That'd be super fun.
Yeah, sadly, if you pick Twitch, you don't have a bot lane. That's the problem.
Oh no, but Twitch jungle, mate. The solo queue special. Start red buff, go straight top. Let's go, boys.
I hate him so much.
I hate it too. And people say, oh no, it's OP because you can sometimes get that level 2 kill. It literally has like a 40% win rate. Terrible.
Yeah, it's not OP at all.
It's really bad.
So if you don't get the kill, well, might as well just FF. Like it's downhill from there.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have, once again, I think this is the third time this series.
Yeah, very aggressive jungling early on. 2 camps at one time, which on the Olaf makes sense. You want to get low early on.
Yeah.
Get a little speed, even more jungle speed.
A lot of spears. Already going better is the bot lane. 2 minutes in and already looking a little bit better than last game, which is good to see here for Flash. But again, as I was saying, it is split jungles again for the third game in the row, I believe. Both junglers stealing away a Gromp and a buff. They're heading back over to their side of the river. I think that doesn't really favour anyone. I don't think there was going to be too many early ganks in this game. None of the lanes are particularly gankable. Maybe mid. But split jungle doesn't affect mid ganks, so...
No. And there's a cleanse on Carti and a heal on even then. It's very hard to gank them. I want to talk a little bit about scaling. I think
but
this
you're not
game...
allowed. No, go ahead.
I'm not allowed.
No, go ahead.
Because you didn't ask me. Okay, ask me about scaling, please.
Yeah, so Yulwei, I just thought of this. Who scales better this game?
Nice. You tell me. It's very easy to tell this game.
I'm sorry, that's not the deal.
Okay. So I think Flash has the big scaling disadvantage in this game. Yeah, DBL's comp is so much better in the late game. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. We'll interrupt you as we do have the hook landing. Slater having to flash. Oh, they throw. Oh, I don't know about this re-engage. With the teleport, I like it though. In comes Yoshino. He's here. First blood for Callista. High has to flash. Yeah, overall, it works out for Flash.
So not quite sure why Hasmid wasn't trying to teleport there. They could have potentially won this fight. Maybe he would have lost the whole wave, which then it becomes a little bit of a judgment call because 1 kill is probably not worth teleporting bot for 1. So understandable, still a little bit weird to see, especially on something like in the On, which is very team focused as well.
You can also just maintain teleport advantage
for the next gank potentially.
Yeah.
I hope he's not going to just teleport back to lane on the On. No.
That would be upsetting. As we do have a bit of a rumble in the river. Can Yejin get closer to
Okay.
the wall? No. Ooh. Just flashes before the
Hasmet
headbutt.
actually missed the wall.
He did.
He wouldn't have knocked up Yejin. I mean, Yejin still had to, but
I think Husband was just doing it as early as he could. Husband actually burned his flash. Makes him a little bit exposed in the top lane. He is gankable now. Not running the spell book. Has gone Grasp.
Which I really don't understand. Grasp into ranged matchup seems very silly.
Yeah, you can say that again. Definitely don't agree with that, especially because if you go Spellbook, you are essentially undivable after your first teleport.
You'll get the Grasp proc. There we go.
5 HP for the rest of the game. Take that one to the bank. Instantly more value than... I mean, think about it. Electrocute, it does damage, but then you heal.
Yeah.
That 5 health is forever.
But Yoshino has a heal of its own, right? He's gone Cull, so a lot of healing. Oh man, what is this Cull epitome?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's that bad in this matchup. He doesn't need stats. He really doesn't. What's Ornn gonna do to him?
Yes. Well, the question is, can he actually force an advantage with the Cull? Because I think it's more important to deny gold from the than accelerate your own. I'm not sure about that. Actually,
I think considering the bot side, is ahead. Yejin will play. Oh god, really bad smite and rend. Luckily it wasn't contested.
Nope.
I think because the bot lane does have a lead, Yejin will play through bot side, so Yoshino's happy just to like chill for a bit. But Null is up in the top lane. Ornhorn blows. Yoshino just getting out of town. And in the end, uses nothing except an E. He is going to lose some CS though. So overall, not a bad play.
Yep, Pikachu used this quick attack to get away. Good to see. But yeah, I think this matchup it's kind of a weird one now for Flash. Because usually you want your top lane cannon to win the matchup. A little bit of an engagement bot, but I don't think that will. But yeah, this cannon will just handshake lane, probably potentially even lose. So what is he going to do here? I talked about him being potentially the only scaler in this composition. Cannon can be dangerous for Aphelios, but
I mean, the dream cannon flank is always dangerous.
Yeah, that's true.
But
on 2 items is so much stronger than cannon on 2 items.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not close.
So yeah, another favorable setup here for DBL. Even though Flash is still ahead in Dragons and Kill, of course, the Kill went over to the Kalista, immediately went for Boots, which makes a lot of sense, because playing Kalista without Boots feels horrible.
That's a real bad time. Kalista is definitely a champion. Some interesting PowerPoints. Coming over to grab his red buff. So far hasn't really had an impact on the map, but no doubt he will eventually get into a lane on this Jarvan.
Yep, and now Maliris immediately answers with another objective potentially here with the first Rift Herald. Look at the HP bar. The nerfs to Rift Herald really, really hurt Shelly.
Yeah,
doesn't
poor
have any
Shelly.
HP there.
Shelly is a little bit upset. Not quite there.
She just goes down so quickly. Rift Herald is actually...
Ooh, a hook straight onto Aphelios here. That's really, really good. Has to flash straight away. Now, High is going very low. There's the Infernum Moonlight Vigil. Doesn't actually do that much damage. Yejin is going to pretty much instantly die. He just turned around to make sure no one else went down. But it's a 1-for-1, and it's a better one for DBL.
Yeah, now they could immediately go for the turret or the plating. But they have to respect the bot lane that is still full HP. Also, Carti's collect.
Ooh.
Actually advantageous in terms of a pure gold value for Flash, as Carti got platings and they denied the very early Rift Herald in the top lane. So good counter swap for Flash. Yejin still kind of just threw away his life. I think he wouldn't have got out there anyway, but yeah.
Yeah.
Not great to see. We
Very
have 2
true.
kills now on Slater, which is exactly the target you want to kill the kills on. I think Kalista is one of the weirdest scaling champs in the game. I always struggle to make up when Kalista is strongest. Obviously, she doesn't have the damage compared to
About 2.5 years ago.
Aphelios.
She was strong.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, compared to
yeah.
Aphelios, late game damage, single target damage, not there. But she has a lot of mobility and she can have a lot of sustained damage, scales in terms of Baron damage as well. So always hard call to make. She doesn't have the solo carry potential compared to the Aphelios. It's not as explosive, but if she can kite, she can kill everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna be tricky though,
Cleanse
as
expanded there for
Cleanse
Cardi.
is used to get out of the Sleepy Trouble bubble.
Yeah, very scared there of the burst from Null. Wanted. I guess he was scared of getting solo killed, which could have happened. Looking at the HP bar, actually using cleanse and then port whole lot of sense. But if he was actually threatened to die, then it makes more sense. So I guess he was very scared there. Still 1k gold lead for Flash. Mid lane struggling slightly.
Is 1k
still even
enough?
in CS. No. Looking at the team composition, no, not. It's okay at 10 minutes, but in the next 10 minutes they need to accrue at least, or amass at least 5k more, or get to the Baron Dragon point. I think Dragon and a gold lead. Depending on the Dragon Soul, Ocean Soul would be a dream scenario for Flash. You might actually look at a series where Flash wins through 2 early Ocean Souls.
Yeah, it's very true. And again, we do have the 50-50 for Ocean or Mountain. Mountain would be a massive wet fart for Flash. Really does nothing to it for. But Ocean would be a very big high roll if they can. They need to basically take the dragons on spawn to keep up with when they're strong.
Yep. First turret going over to Bikoro, another 600 gold in his pocket. And they trade the first turret for the dragon. That's an interesting call for DBL.
Could be 2 turrets.
Okay, it's Ocean Soul. So DBL, I'm not sure if DBL is happy about this trade. So they got a lot of gold on their ADC, which is valuable, of course. And now they basically have to contest the next dragon. So this put them in a better immediate position, but might actually put them in a worse position in 5 minutes.
I completely agree. As Slater does get knocked up here, but in the end, Husband doesn't want to engage, so just sort of uses the Ornal for not much. But I don't think it'll matter. There's nothing up.
I think he thought he was stronger than Slater, and then realized Slater was just murdering him there. So
yeah, I think we do need to see. We need to see the next dragon contested. Hopefully, they've learnt from game 1 and realized giving up Ocean Soul Point is really, really bad.
So this is a weird situation for DBL. They need to get to item. On needs to get to 1 item. Zoe needs to finish her first item, and Bikoro should at least finish his boots as well before the fight happens. Because
he's very close.
Right now, it's not looking too great in terms of item power spikes, especially as Slater will definitely complete his Blade of the Rune King before the next fight. So yeah, there it is, already completed, boots completed. So he's way stronger right now on 1 item, one of the best power spikes.
Blade of the Rune King in the early game. Very good.
They might opt to give up the third dragon, fight for the, but then it's super risky, right?
I think they have to though. Like, can they give up Ocean Soul Point again?
They shouldn't. Yeah. But maybe it's better than to all die on the pit, which could happen as well. So
I think they fight fairly well in the pit though. Like, not as, I guess there is a cannon. That's pretty scary.
Yeah. And Aphelios and Zoe don't want to enter the.
I think one of the best things they can do is start looking for picks around 30 seconds before the draft. If they can land a bubble onto someone and just have Zoe blow them up, that will do a hell of a lot for them. But I mean, it's interesting. We're talking about this as if the initiative is on DBL. I'm not sure it is.
Yeah, the problem is the dragon kind of shapes this game in a different direction, right? Because of course the Honest is on Flash. But if they get to Dragon Point, that's enough acceleration, maybe. So it's a very interesting situation right now, and
Oh, the
we see
dive is
another
coming
engage in
in.
bot lane.
Yejin flying forward. The Callista ult has been used.
Oh
Yejin will
no,
go
it all went
instantly
wrong.
down.
Oh,
It's all gone so wrong. And now it's Big Koro taking on Slater. But there's a Zoe coming. There's a tower. Flash. Perhaps a bit of a flash in the pan. Oh, Slater hopping away like the Easter Bunny.
nicely
He's
done.
gone. How
Nicely
did he get
done.
away?
Yeah, if you played this is mechanically very well there. 3-0 now on the Callista. Still a botched a dive there. And the dragon is too far away, so even if they got the dive, wouldn't immediately result in the dragon. Will give more gold over to Slater, but also to Big Koro. And the second kill went over to Nautilus, I think. So even that is not bad. If Nautilus can get to his first item in the Dragon Pie, he's suddenly the tankiest member of the whole game. So
Yeah,
don't
I think
he has
that was
enough
a
time
huge
to complete this
mistake.
one. Yeah.
Really very bad there by Flash. It was an unnecessary play as well. Oh no, they're not just going to return gank, are they? Oh no, it looks like they're going to go under tower again. The teleports have been called this time. Yejin, yeah. Thankfully, the shutdown is in. Yejin now has to get away from the Ram, but it's another 1-for-1.
Yeah. This is a problem. Flash is trying to go for plays, which is a good call. They need to accelerate this game, maybe even before the dragon spawns. But it's not succeeding so far, and they are always killing in exchange. There we get to see the bot lane dive again. It starts with a good hook, I think, for CBL. There we go.
Yep.
It's only on the Nautilus, though.
And
Nicely done with the stopwatch. So also Graviton. Slater. Yeah, and Slater couldn't attack there because of Graviton, so he wasn't able to using his passive. And look at this first initial damage from Big Koro there. Yeah, Slater couldn't fight. Usually, as a Callista on one item, you say, okay, enemy ADC, do whatever you want, I'm stronger than you. But sadly, it's Crescendo Turret. And Crescendo Turret crit, enter crit, just put Slater to half HP, so Slater had to hop away.
Absolutely, and we do have the Dragon live. We should have all 10 members of the game over there, but so far, Cutty very far away. DBL could start this up, and it's going to be hard for Flash to fight.
Look at the items for DBL. They completed their first big items, so they can fight
huge.
here. And I think this dragon is almost game. As silly as it sounds, this dragon might actually be what decides this game, because it delays Flash's dragon point. Now they need at least 10 more minutes to get to Soul, and Cardi just killed Meliodas, I guess. That happened.
He did, but he did secure the Soul before it mattered. Husband now stunned up. He's a tanky boy, and he does flash over the wall. Very well done.
Yeah, so one kill back for Flash. Cardi looking like the shining light today, which is quite funny, looking at all the pre-season assessments on Cardi. Everyone thought Cardi would be the weak point for Flash. Not today, that's for sure.
Yeah, and this is going to be super hard for Flash now. How do they avoid the fact that they're just weaker? They can't get the Ocean Soul, at least not easily. It takes 2 dragons. That's how Meliodas died. But
very straightforward. I mean, there's still a little bit of time where Flash is still equally strong or even stronger, especially if Callista is able to the item soon, which she should be. There's Syndra with a lot of burst. She's working on a second item, which I don't know what it will be. Potentially Void stuff.
I'd like to see
Yoshino has finally finished his cull as well, so he should be working on the second one. So I think if everyone hits the second item power spike, or at least 3 members, they should just instantly try to engage and get on top of Aphelios. And with Yoshino, Flash, and ult level 2, that's definitely something they could achieve.
Yeah. Very suboptimal use of the Rift Herald there. It was expiring, so Meliodas just had to throw it down just outside base. It's unlikely to get a charge unless they all walk with it, which it actually looks like they're going to do, so should be able to get a fair bit of damage done to the mid lane tower. You know? Ooh, as the Aphelios ult comes down, that's actually Gravitum. It forces the heal out. I don't know if heal was necessary.
Didn't look like it was necessary.
Definitely used. I saw the summoner spell and I was going to say, oh, that's the cleanse. No, Slater's
I
running
thought so
heal.
too, but cleanse was not used, but heal was used.
Yeah.
A little bit there.
Maybe Slater
Just
thought he had cleanse.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, nothing happened. And Biko is still farming 50% crit. You can see he's critting already without IE 400 roughly. So very good start for Biko. Once again, 2-1 and 2. Died more times than in the last game already, but that was a dive. So not his fault. Not really his fault.
No, not really. Yoshino, again, still the side lane threat. Yeah, I think if Flash is going to come back in this, I mean, I say come back, they're actually still ahead. If they're going
They
to
are.
win this, it's going to be on the back of a big cannon ult from Yoshino. Definitely possible. He's had some good positioning. He has hit some good ults. But I still think DBL's comp is so easy.
Yeah. Might also be on the back of Cardi just one-shotting because this time because
Yeah, that's true.
Tom Kench to protect him. So this time he has to be very wary of the super fat, once again super fat Cardi Syndra. Next fight, the next dragon will be once again a very interesting point in the game. This time I really think DBL should up and delay the game a little bit longer. I don't think, looking at the items right now, they can win a fight. Maybe if On is able to soak up a lot of the early damage from Flash, then potentially, but yeah, there's a big item advantage in almost all of the positions on Flash side. 2 items secured for mid lane and ADC as well. 2 items almost secured for top lane. Yoshino on a very strong point, double penetration items. So it's risky to fight right now for DBL. They should just scale up a little bit more.
I don't think they need to fight.
More items would be cool.
Yeah,
No,
I
they
think
don't.
they can just chill. The next dragon, every dragon is fairly important here. I think DBL definitely favored around these dragons just because of the amount of gauge they have. But potentially next fight meaning a lot. If Flash can hard win a fight, take an Ocean Drake, maybe snowball it into Baron control, if not the Baron itself, then
and the game
obviously
suddenly
they're
looks
back.
like it's over. Yeah, I think so too. So Flash is really hoping for DBL to feel strong enough to fight, because I think Flash wins every fight right now. So would like to see more invested into the setup for the next fight, a little bit more vision, but it's okay, Cardi.
That's a huge mistake.
Yep. No Flash now for the next team fight. That's super good for the
That
big
was
Koro.
horrible. I think that almost had to be a flat finger.
I think he wanted to go on top of Meliodas. Far away.
That was
Look at the damage.
cool. A lot of damage though.
Insane damage.
But he's super exposed, but he might have chunked just enough to delay this dragon take. Meliodas and High, very low, but Gargoyles is in for the Nautilus. He's tanky. They need to go fairly quickly. This dragon will melt. Oh my god, Kati is solo carrying right now. Doing so much. The Gravitum does come in, but they can't go forward. Kati's just done way too much damage. This was all Kati.
Even though he may be fat-fingered, maybe just mistakenly.
You are cutting out there, so you might need to repeat yourself. Cut out for a little bit.
I'll report myself.
Times 9 Yulwei, please.
Yeah. No, I was saying Cardi redeemed himself very quickly for his fat finger on the course. Yeah, he bursted down everyone there. So good to see. Good to see Cardi being on top of his game. Very strong itemization choice as well. Super strong burst right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This Syndra, obviously still a big threat. But we do start seeing ornaments coming in, so that gold lead, I actually think the gold lead's already a lie, based on orn items. With the Luden's Yell, or whatever it's called. Not the Echo anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's called. Do you know?
I actually have no idea. I genuinely have no idea.
Yeah, orn items. You don't need to know the.
I know some of them.
Yeah, some of them are like.
What's the redemption?
Forgefire Cape. Salvation.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't know the name either. It's Luden's. I think it's still Luden's, but something, not Echo.
Yeah. At all. And As also, just speaking of ornaments, we do have the Frozen Fist.
Yep.
What's that for?
Yeah, Frozen Fist is not very efficient. If you've talk about the on items, it's not very efficient to go Frozen Fist because it just gives you a lot of resistances and doesn't give you any HP. And you get so many resistances from the other on
Oh,
item,
there's a hook.
Items.
The Olaf
Yeah,
ult
it's
is
just the ult.
instantly burned. That's still a cooldown, as they're doing a bit of a Baron
there's
Tango.
potential for a
The
big
bubble.
burst.
Yep, and bang! Yijin flashes there. Oh, I don't like that one. He's stuck in the back of the pit. The Ornn ult does a lot. Slater does get knocked up. This is so much damage. He has to go straight over the wall. Has a lantern if he needs it, but he's just going to hop away. Infernum ult doing a lot, but they don't end up finding anything. But now DBL has full map control. Yeah, just go straight to Baron.
The smite. Another smite for for Null.
Yeah.
They're taking a little bit too long. This is risky.
They take it quickly.
It should still be enough.
Felios has
took
bad
a lot
guns.
of time to get to the Baron. No, what are you
Whoa,
doing?
whoa, Slater, what are you doing? This was super risky. Both carries being a bit
slow.
Oh, it's half health. Yoshino's here with the slicing maelstrom. I think this fight does decide the game. And it starts out with a jungle going down, but it's answered onto Kati, who has done so much. And it's a shutdown as well for Big Koro. And both teams decide, you know what? I don't want to decide my fate here. And they back off.
Yep.
But Flash now has inside track. Should get this in up fairly easily. And might try and pressure over towards the Ocean Drake. At least getting a bit of vision and the like.
Clearing out vision mostly. A lot of ping DBL they can clear out, and now priority for Flash on the bottom side of the map, which is great for them for the next dragon fight. DBL almost able to crack open the game there with the Baron. Baron could have potentially been the nail in the coffin here, but not quite able to burst down the Baron. I don't quite agree with Nor's choice to try to zone there. I think you needed all the damage you had for the Baron. Just try to throw everything but the kitchen sink at the Baron and see if you have the damage, because Zoe alone can never deter all the engage for Flash. So yeah, I think there was a little bit of a misjudgment there for Null to go for the. I mean, it's normal to do this kind of movement on Zoe, but in that situation you needed the extra damage, even if Zoe is not the greatest Baron champ. Regardless, it's another shutdown to Big Koro, so more gold in his pocket, close to his molten edge. So
yeah,
that's another big power spike. We saw his damage in the last already. Oh no, don't. Oh,
I'm just gonna clear this out. I actually, I don't. Oh no, it's a soul point. No, Jesus Christ! I miscounted my dragons. Do not trade this.
Okay. Good to see you turning away again, and they want to catch Kati or Slater.
Yeah, Slater has been hit by the Ornhorn. Instantly uses the Mercurial on a knock-up. Get rid of the slow, I suppose.
Not a fan of the instant cleanse.
Yep, neither am I. They're standing on a ward at the moment. So but there's the lantern will be used. I don't think much will happen here. Ooh, Moonlight Vigil only hits one. Not really good enough. Callista's on Dragon. This is Soul. Flash is going to win because of Soul again. 2 games in a row. Well, 2 games in a series.
And they gave over the Soul.
DBL, what are you doing? It's Ocean Soul!
Very surprising. And DBL is not a burst team. I mean, okay, Zoe is, but this is
not
a
getting
very
kills,
bad team to fight
Zoe's
against.
Just chunking.
I mean, she deals a lot of damage, of course, but it's still Ocean Soul. As long as you can burst, the Ocean Soul is like 300-400 extra HP in team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Yijin just flies in now. They just don't take damage now. This is Ocean Soul. Flash just wins. DBL, learn to play around dragons. This is really pathetic. This is 2 games in the series. They've lost pretty much because of bad dragon control when they didn't need to lose.
Yeah, this time they really didn't to lose this dragons. And Big Crow was caught. Big Crow wasn't with. He was pushing top. Now the game might just end.
I think it will. This is game.
Big Crow. Oh, the grab!
Oh, and the hook does well. Flash will win 2 games where I think they're saying, "Ooh, good thing we had some Good thing we had some ocean drakes. Hey, boys.
Yeah, and Jesus is definitely on their side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Say that again, because I'm not sure they played in a way where they win. I just want to point out, I've been watching chat, and you are all inting. Chat is so fucking silver right now. You have you genuinely have no idea why Flash won that game. You are so incorrect, all of you. You have no idea.
Calm down,
It's
babe.
triggering
Calm
me. But we are in that series at its end. We've had a long day. Had some good games.
That we did.
And Ocean Souls, turns out they're pretty important.
Quite good, yeah. A little bit of a weird objective focus, a little bit of a disappointing end. Like they would be able to get back into the game. Almost at Molten Edge point for Bikoro. He looked like Bikoro might be able to once again carry the team fights on Aphelios. But then some very weird decisions are very scattered around the map as well. Because pushed our top lane, 2 members were caught in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Not great to see.
I mean,
After a big storm, and it's actually exactly the same pattern as in the first series. Close first game, storm for the losing team, storm for the winning team. And then we have a 2-1.
Yeah, and again, it just came down to DBL just kind of forgot to fight at Dragon. Like, the fact that Callista soloed Soul Dragon.
Yeah.
Like, surely you're looking at that team
It's
and going...
unforgivable.
Like, yes, Callista's great at objective control. Obviously, that's why you pick Callista. But you notice, there's only 4 of them here. They're on the Dragon side of the river. Wonder what could be happening. You have to go.
I know it was hard for them to engage there. Then you can't just give up the dragon for.
No, you had to go. It's Ocean Soul.
You had to fight, and at the very least, at the bare minimum, try to go for the Baron. Like Baron against Ocean Soul is not a fair trade. It's not worth it. But at least you get money on Aphelios. At least Aphelios can maybe get to the Molten Edge. Then you might be able to overcome the Ocean Soul disadvantage. But just trading Ocean Soul for nothing and then dying immediately afterwards, kind of unacceptable and a little bit of a sad end to the day.
Yeah. DBL just kind of got I think it's interesting. Like, that last game, honestly, did Flash win or did DBL lose?
So you cut out.
Did Flash win or did DBL lose?
Yeah, I think in both games Flash won. Flash didn't really win. DBL lost.
Yeah.
A few too many mistakes. If you think back to game 1, DBL, even though the enemy team had the Ocean Soul, they should have won. They pushed the inhibitor and overextended in the mid lane, and then Flash cleaned all them up and ran down mid lane, finished the game. DBL had no business losing the first game. Third game, a little bit more. I mean, third game, Flash played well. Then we can't really say Flash had no business winning the third game. They had an early mid game composition, very strong on 2 items, and they made use of that. But I think DBL was in a position to win this game, especially denying the third dragon. That was the important one.
The third dragon the third dragon was a bigger mistake than DBL than losing the fourth dragon. The fourth dragon was a lot harder to contest.
That's true, but they also denied the very first on the Rift, so it looked like they were able to withstand the early game power. Sadly, in the end for them, not quite, and Biko showed up big today, but he was not able to carry his team over the line. Flash now sitting on 3-1, tying up Gum, and of course the winners of the earlier series today as well, Secret.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. I think that it'd be down to game difference so I think Gum will still be on top, but Flash does hold the head-to-head.
1 game ahead.
So very interesting at the top. We do have to pick MVP for the last one. I think Cutty. I think Syndra was doing everything.
Oh yeah, Cutty had so many great bursts.
To the point where there were several fights that he solo won.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree. Cutty, even though Slater also.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Slater had a good game. He looked good on the Callista. He had some very, very good mechanics, but I think Cutty literally solo won 2 or 3 fights. And overcame the fact that DBL had a much better comp, just with better play. I think we talk about DBL having. I just want to sorry, just to make one more point. We talked about DBL had a better
ahead.
comp. They did, but that's not to say Flash had a bad comp.
Yeah,
Their,
and
their
better
comp
comp
was
is very.
fine.
It's very hard to say better comp. They had different. They had a comp with clear strength, and they played through those strengths for the most part. They gave up one dragon, which wasn't great. They lost one team fight in the top side, which looked quite dire then. But the team comp still had ways to win the game, just not as easy as DBL. And not
Exactly.
they had to be more proactive. So it's actually a little bit more impressive
Yeah,
for them to win
I
this
agree with
game
that.
on this tier position.
I totally agree with that. I would have loved to see how that game played out on a Mountain Rift.
Yeah,
They're very lucky to get Ocean Soul, but
it's
then
true.
again, if you get it, given it, you take it. So, unless we have anything more to say, this will be us signing off for today. Very, very long day.
6 game day with very long games as well. So,
Yeah, it's been a very, very long one. One of our longest, at least
I
this
think so
split.
too,
Definitely this split, but we had some long ones because of tech pauses last year.
yeah.
Hopefully we don't get too many of those, but this will be us for the night. This is, once again, I've been Everyday. With me, as always, has been Yulwei. We love to have you here, guys. Feel free to scroll down below the stream for ways to support us as well. There's a Discord for the community. There is a Twitter account for the community. There's lots of ways to get involved, get interacting with the Vietnamese League. We'd love to see you guys, and we'll be back tomorrow for the last
Another
day.
great day for VCS tomorrow. DBL facing and Secret playing against GAM again. So most of the team that play today will play tomorrow again. Only Flash has only one series this week, so we'll get to see another GAM game. Two winners of today, probably the highlight of the last day tomorrow. So
absolutely,
stay tuned and get a good night of sleep and go back to us tomorrow.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys then. We hope you enjoyed the show tonight.